Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to some competitive GeoGuessr. It is World League, week number 11 already, so we are past the halfway point, and we are back with the original caster combo. It's me, your host, Ziggy, and I'm joined again by GeoGuessr. How are we doing on this fine Sunday?
Back to the roots indeed. It's there Ziggy and me today, GeoGuessr for you, casting another time. We are over halfway through the Pro League now, and we got some good matches for you today. I am doing great. How are you, Ziggy?
Yeah, I'm also doing great. Excited to be, back with this setup. You and me, just like the good old first times. Had a few castings with Toby. He's also great, but always good to have a fellow German. But before we jump into the games, let's take a quick look at how do you play GeoGuessr and how do you play it competitively. GeoGuessr, take it away.
Yeah, how it works. In 3 steps, as we see it on the screen, you get dropped somewhere in the world. It can be anywhere with Google Street View coverage, of course. After you get dropped, you see an image, you can look around and you have to take a guess, put your pin down on the map and guess where you think it is. And then based on how close you are to the actual distance, there will be a scoring system, and depending on the distance, you will deal damage to your opponent.
Sounds easy enough. In the World League, we play 3 different game modes. We always start off with the moving mode, which basically gives the players the freedom of moving around in Street View, basically drive around the Google car and then make their guess based off signs they find, anything really. The only limit being the 1-minute time limit. And then they always go into no move, where the players can pan around, zoom around, and use whatever they can find in a still panorama. And then if a tiebreaker is needed, we go into the NMPZ mode, which is no moving, panning or zooming, which is just a still image. And for these players, that is mostly enough to get the country at least, and even region guess it, which is, quite impressive, I have to say.
It's also worth mentioning every player has their own preference, their own play style. We have a couple players who prefer moving. We have some people who only play no move. We have players who only play NMPZ really. So
yeah,
that's also the difference between the players.
Yeah, here you can see the scoring. As I said, it's always the best of 3. You have 3 game modes. Every mode is being played once. And if a game is won by 2-0, the winner receives 3 points. And if he loses one of the first 2 games and wins the 3rd game, he gets 2 points and the one player gets 1 point. Easy enough.
Indeed, but looking at the scoreboard and looking how tight the scoring is and how close everyone is to each other, everyone is thriving for those 3 points to get that extra point through, because it is very important, as we see in the medal span. I mean, look, from 11th to 20th, you have a 5-point difference from place 11 to 20.
Yeah.
And even on the other side as well, it's 30, 29, double. So yeah, very, very close.
Yeah, very close indeed. And you also see highlighted the players that you will be seeing in this slot. And as you can see, we have Finnbar and Captain, and we don't only have them playing, but they will face each other. So I'm very excited for that matchup, especially. And looking at the schedule right here, Malfunction Trisha, the Benelux small country clash up, really. Flyme, Strefan, and then we have, as I mentioned, Finnbar versus Captain, which I think, is probably the, maybe the best matchup, I should say. Then you also have Finnbar against Malfunction. What is your favorite matchup?
I want to say we start off right with a good match there. Malfunction against Trisha is a match I would like to see. They both have different play styles, but they are from the same region of the world. So let's see how that will turn out. And we have a lot of players playing multiple games today. So let's see how that will turn out.
Yeah, we will definitely get to see Malfunction twice. We get to see Trisha twice, Finnbar twice. So definitely get to see those top EU players playing again and again. Malfunction is struggling a bit in the league, but I would say if she lives up to her capabilities, she can definitely be a very strong opponent for any player, really. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her perform very well. And yeah, any other matchups maybe from the secondaries that you also are interested in?
I am very interested about Swan Gambit's games, because Swan Gambit is a very good player, but he couldn't really get his wins through that often. So yeah, at this point I have to root for him honestly, because he got unlucky a lot of times. So I hope it will turn out better for him this week.
Yeah, I can only agree with that. A lot of multi-merchant going on against Swan Gambit. But, you know, we have Malfunction against Trisha. Any words for these two players?
Yeah, I mean, Malfunction is known to be a moving specialist, but she also definitely proved and won a lot of NMPC games. So therefore, I wouldn't really go into the game and think if I win the moving game, like if I'm Trisha and think, okay, I only have to win the moving game against Malfunction. That's not how it is, because as we can see, it's a 46% win rate with a precision of 45 and the average guess time of 33 seconds, which is pretty quick, you know.
Yeah, we definitely see lower scores there. And speaking of lower scores, 43 seconds has to be one of the lowest average guess times in the league, or highest, depends on how you see it really. Similar win rate, I have to say, precision a bit lower, but stats-wise, this seems like a matchup which will be very, very close.
Definitely. And yeah, as you said, it's 43 seconds, so Trisha will leave a lot of time, a lot of room for Malfunction, especially in those moving games. I think Malfunction doesn't really want to face someone who is instantly sending out their guesses all the time, so therefore maybe that's good to play against Trisha for her.
Yeah, insta-guessing can be pretty easy if you're on the side of, okay, I'm not favored in a moving game, so I can just insta-guess. And from my function side, it's like, okay, I'm a moving player. I'm one of the few players who really main moving in this league, so you want to definitely get that win in the moving game, so definitely puts a lot of pressure on you. But we shall see if Malfunction can withstand the pressure going into the first game, moving, and we instantly find an area code. Gelotrus, do you know the 84 area code in Brazil?
84. I mean, it is northeast, and I think it's not in Maranhão, but east of it somewhere.
And okay, not only knowing the area code there.
Trisha have the town name? I'm not sure, because clicking that confidently into the city is odd. So I would assume he had some information, but I would also not be surprised if Trisha had anything else to work with to get the right city there. And we move over to this round, which should be Mexico. We have those short license plates, which you see a lot in the Americas. Octagonal poles as well. A couple palm trees.
Yeah, Mexico.
Architecture looks a bit more northern, I want to say, but at the same time, I don't have a lot of landscape to work with here.
Yeah, Brazil and Mexico are quite similar, I feel like, in the moving playstyle, because both of them have information available in like urban environments, but they can be very hard to find, but they're very useful, especially the phone codes. So that's what both players are looking for. Merida guess here, didn't really think about that. It looks like he has a Tabasco abbreviation, it says TAB. So I think Trisha
as well.
will have a good guess here.
So if that van didn't travel too far, it should be in Tabasco, and it is indeed a very good find from Trisha there.
Yeah, not the worst start. If those were later rounds, this could have been a very big damage. So Malfunction can be lucky that those were the first two rounds, but you know, it also puts the pressure on, because that really shows that Trisha is also capable of finding the information in those, you know, tricky urban environments. And yeah, those are pretty much the rounds you really can struggle on if you are not familiar with the moving mode.
Exactly. We stay in the Americas. We are in Panama here. However, this time we are not in an urban environment at all. We are just somewhere on a rural road. No information to be seen yet on either side. So will this come down to just making a region guess based on the foliage, or will we find some info in the next 20 seconds left?
Yeah. It seems like Malfunction is pretty, you know, locked in onto the road. It seems like she knows the road, and I feel like the road she's on looks very similar, at least. But in Panama, it can always be opposite side of the countries, because there's also those wet areas in the very far northwest. That is where Trisha is.
And
so definitely see big damage.
Here is split between east and west. And it is all the way west. Trisha was there originally. Hedged it out a little bit. You can see he's not happy about the switch, but of course still a good round for him to pick up a couple more points. And we go into round 4.
And what a meta we have here. Gelotris, talk about me with the guardrail.
We have the yellow guardrail.
But not in...
which you commonly found in Yamaguchi. However, we are still in Americas. We are in the new Gen 4 coverage of Puerto Rico.
Does Trisha know the new coverage? It seems like he does.
Let's see, they both end up going east. And it is indeed right outside Caguas. And that's the first points for Malfunction there.
Yeah, that is definitely a round where you definitely have to keep up with the new releases by Google, because I feel like if you are not aware of the coverage being there, that's a pretty hard round to do, because the country, or should I say rather the island itself, didn't have any Gen 4 coverage before, but now it does. Now we are in Bulgaria. How do we region guess Bulgaria? Just saw a flag, so it's definitely gonna be Bulgaria, but
yes.
finding information
should be obvious. We have a lot of text written actually, but it's barely readable. I don't know if they see it a bit better on their screen. Of course, we have it a little bit smaller on our side. However, I can't really tell the season. It looks like summer. Maybe close to spring, which puts you more to the east of Bulgaria, but in this case I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks quite western to me. It looks like very close to Sofia, somewhere in the south maybe, just because of these hills. And that's where both players are pretty much.
Yep.
Was just very close to Sofia there. You know, 500 damage, quite a bit of chunk damage there. But
yeah, he's slowly building it up, really. There's no big pointer so far, but Trisha always getting a little bit closer here and there. And getting a good lead by now. Malfunction on 3k health. And Trisha still pretty much on the maximum health. And we saw these short road lines on the road, which are specific to France. And the road has a little red tent on it, which you see more in the central eastern side of France.
True. Shout out to Zigzag for that meta, the Dijon Red Road, which is also known as, for some reason, he just picked a random city that is close to the area where you get the red tint on the streets.
Yeah, it is definitely the most around Dijon, but in this case we see a couple hills, so I would assume we are a bit further south or a bit more northeast of Dijon. Trisha decided to go a little bit further south towards Lyon. That's also where Malfunction is zooming into. She decides to go around Paris though, between Paris and Dijon. So let's see on which side it is, and it is indeed right outside Dijon. Trisha getting that right. I wonder if he used the road tint meta there.
Yeah, maybe, but he also had a sign which I think said Burgundy, which I think is a region that is near there. I might be wrong and I didn't really see what it says. As we move on to Japan with a lot of signs at spawn, so you know, this is kind of what Malfunction wants in like her moving seats when she plays ACW. This just seems like a round she would 5k instantly.
Yes, indeed, and we have a lot of information to work with. You can use the body of water, maybe. You can, after you have the region down, of course. But we also have pole plates, we have pole tops, we have city signs. So a lot of information to work with.
And Trisha found Shimanto after he saw the Shikoku plate with the, you know, kind of checkboard symbol. So if Trisha is on it, this could be the game for Trisha, and it's going to be very hard for Malfunction, I think, to win both no move and NPC against Trisha. So let's see if she can make a last second adjustment. She goes to Kyushu, which I don't think is correct either.
I don't think I saw Kyushu plate there. It is indeed Shikoku, but still on the most western side of it.
Yeah, Trisha again
keeps
switching.
Malfunction in the game, actually.
Yeah, Trisha switching again. I feel like if Trisha kept his first guess every single round, he would have already run just by the Panama round and also this round. As we move into Oman, any inside on Oman here? How do you region guess Oman, or is it just luck based?
That is still written in the sky. It is also fairly recent coverage, I wanted to say. It is what now, maybe 2 or 3 months until it came out. So people didn't really research it too much. I don't know if there is something to come up where people will actually learn to region guess it, because most of the country looks the same in the north, where you have these mountains surrounded by you. And yeah, that's probably also where they will end up. Trisha is zooming to the north of Oman. Indeed, going a bit more western. I'm not sure what he is using to make that western guess, because we have Malfunction way further east around the capital Muscat. Switching up a little bit further inland, but it is indeed in the western side. But Trisha again committing a little bit too much to secure that win, and we are going over to round 9. Malfunction is not allowed to do any mistakes at this pace with 5x damage.
Yeah, the multipliers, and she spawns on a phone code 22, but Trisha also sees it. So this is really, Malfunction cannot win on this round. She can only really lose, because it seems like Trisha knows the phone code as well. You know, she only has 2 rounds left, but the rounds are 5x multipliers and 5.5x in the second one. So definitely a possibility to still win, even though she's down like almost 6,000 points.
Yes, definitely. A chance, but also a chance to for Trisha to win, even though they are both in the same region. If he gets closer, but Malfunction stays alive for another round. And that's her last chance to secure this win. She has to lock in on this one. And we end up in the Americas again. It looks like southern US. We have those southern pines, and we have an instant southern Georgia, I guess.
We have a reflector, so it's definitely going to be Georgia or Florida here.
But
so
Trisha knows it as well. Also fairly in the south. I don't think there's any way he can lose. And to look at this guess.
I don't want to say he played flawlessly, but there was not really that much for Malfunction to do there, really. Just very solid gameplay by Trisha. Got the rounds with information right, got the rounds without information right. What can you really do there? So definitely a very impressive game by him. And Malfunction on the back foot now, has to come back from a 0-1. Not gonna be easy.
Nope, not at all. Also, I mentioned this earlier where I said that Trisha doesn't really get a really big lead for winning the moving game, because as I said, Malfunction also did play a lot of NPC games in this league and also secured some wins on them. So it's not over yet, I want to say, and we go to this no-move game.
Yeah, I feel like no-move...
Not much to work with here. I thought we are somewhere in... Yes, I like the Botswana guess. I thought it's South Africa, but I could also see Botswana.
I was also in Botswana, near Francistown, somewhere close to the lake maybe. This is kind of the roads you get in that region there. Just, you know, very small dirt paths with not a lot of room on each side. And also this dry vegetation, maybe the season also helps. It's like subtle things that you don't really think about, but you just have it in, in your brain.
There indeed, Trisha getting close again.
Although it has to be said, no move, I think, is kind of the mode players have the most skill in. How do I say this? I feel like they're very close in skill in no move. Like, there's not a lot of players that win every single game in no move. I don't think any player in the league has won every single no move game.
No, definitely, I agree with that.
So it's definitely a bit closer always. I feel like the skill expression really comes into play with moving, especially, and also NPC. But no move, every player kind of knows, because they can look around and it's pretty much the same knowledge on a lot of players.
Yes, definitely. I don't know, a lot of people say moving games are luck-based, based on who finds information first, but there's definitely also a skill to get to this information. And to learn how to get to it, and Trisha is just on it again. He is playing out of his mind today. Really no mistakes at all.
A pretty decent region guess for the Bahia there. We did have the, prominent Bahia cacti, which you also get further north though. But definitely a good guess by him here. And it seems like we are staying in Brazil. We have the Brazil pole again, although it looks like we have Parana pines. So we're definitely going to be in one of the free states, Parana, Santa Catarina, or maybe even Rio Grande do Sul. But I think
those trees are very common in that area, and we actually had a lot of America's Brazil today. Trisha is right on the border, but yeah, and it is right on the border. He's just playing too good right now.
Yeah, still on the 6k health, so basically flawlessing. Not basically, he is flawlessing. As we move on to a Scandinavia round, just looks like a standard Sweden to me.
I do agree, but I also want to say it's maybe a bit more sudden.
Latitude guessing Sweden, definitely a thing that has always been, troubling players. It can always look very deceiving depending on the season as well. I feel like if it's deep summer and you're in the north, you are definitely more inclined to guess south, and you have a winterish, season in the south, you are, more inclined to guess north. So most people just pick the middle.
A couple bigger mountains the further north you go.
Yeah, both players pretty much just taking the middle here. Shouldn't see too much. Although Trisha is right on it. Yet again, not letting loose really. Now Malfunction dropping below the half threshold. Her health is turning orange, which is not a good sign. But we did talk about the multipliers earlier and how impactful they can be. As we move on to a Europe round that doesn't look very, descriptive.
No, I want to say this is a flat winter coverage in Europe, which always makes me think of Hungary.
Yeah, that is definitely always a guess you have to think about.
Probably the only things you can really use here.
It is really dead flat here. I don't see a single hill or anything. Maybe a lake next to us, or a river rather, because there is a bridge as well.
Yes, indeed. You can have those winter coverages mostly in Bulgaria, Czechia, Hungary, especially on Generation 3 camera, which we have here. But given the flatness, I want to say Hungary makes the most sense. But I would not be surprised if it's somewhere else. So let's see.
Trisha, you need to make a guess. Oh, Trisha's going
He's
US.
in the United States because you don't see an antenna, maybe?
Maybe not. And
it is.
There was no antenna. Trisha,
wow.
We are in Kentucky or something very close to it. Yeah, and that means we see a 2-0 flawless game and a flawless no-move game by Trisha. Last second lock in. We were both surprised because I thought we didn't have an antenna and we just couldn't see it on our screens, but
yeah, I was just assuming that we can see it, especially driving on a dirt road. That makes things a bit hard to spot sometimes, especially the car antenna. But this is the Trisha I expected to see in this Pro League, really. He did have some bad games here and there, but I feel like slowly he's locking in and he knows he has to lock in. I also predicted him that he should be way further up on the leaderboard than he is right now.
Yeah, I heard that.
So it's really nice to see him locking in here and not making any mistakes at all.
Yeah, if he continues playing like this, I mean, he's definitely going to be on the top as well. As you said, definitely a player that is lower than he should be, according to us at least. But I feel like you can say that about a lot of players. But, the league is just this competitively that even if you're a decent or very good player, it's just maybe not enough sometimes. Malfunction, not her game today, I have to say. Definitely just overwhelmed by Trisha's, just accuracy.
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't really agree with that, because Malfunction did actually play good. But
yeah, that's what I mean.
Trisha was just out of his mind. So yeah, both played really well, but it really came down to those 1 or 2 mistakes that Malfunction made.
Yeah.
Weren't really there on Trisha's side, but we move on to another game. Here we have Pan versus Spaghet, Greece versus Japan.
Yeah, Pan also, I think, on the lower end, and Spaghet on the other side had impressive game wins against somebody like Blinky. against somebody like, I think, Kratzu. And he definitely has gone from the very bottom of like the APAC table to being, you know, qualifying for that APAC major, which is coming up, which is also such a cool location in Tokyo, where he is from. So he would definitely be thrilled to be there. As you can see, the stats quite similar, I should say, probably higher towards Pan, as we see where they are standing in the table. As I said, Pan on the lower end, even though his stats were better. But as you can see, there's a 7-match difference, or even 8 matches difference between those two players. So maybe that explains why Pan is this far down.
Definitely, that will have some impact to the statistics, the amount of games we have played. But I would agree, Spaghet also really played way better further into the league than in the beginning. Also worth mentioning that Spaghet isn't that long in this game, but so isn't Pan. I wanna say, I mean, at this point, not really newcomers, but definitely a bit later into the game than a lot of competitors in this league.
I was about to say, we saw Spaghet in the last year's APAC regionals, and we might get him again this year. Definitely going to be interesting once we get to the end of the league, really. Those last few games could matter a lot, whether you qualify for the regionals or not. I feel like every player wants to make it at least to the regionals, if not to the World Cup itself. But it's the first goal, really, to get to the majors, as we have a pretty boring first round, I would say. Just Urban Czar, and it just looks like Joburg.
I mean, we had some area codes. I don't know if they use that, but it's actually pretty far east. I did expect it to be closer towards Johannesburg, and so did they. But yeah, Spaghet, as I said, he played in the APAC last year, but at that time he didn't even play this game for a year. So I want to say that's pretty impressive, making it to majors with not even 1 year of game experience in GeoGuessr. So definitely a grinder, I want to say.
Definitely a grinder, but also, you know, if you are from a like exotic country, something like the APAC region or the Americas, I feel like you're more likely to make it. I feel like the competition is very, very high in Europe, so it's pretty hard to make it. Not to downplay his, you know, qualifying for the APAC at all, but I would say Europe is definitely the most competitive region right now. Just the amount of players you have. But also the US itself could make an own continent pretty much by the players they have.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, you already said it. Of course, Europe has a lot more players, which makes competitions just a little harder. We have Nigeria, pretty far east, I guess, from Spaghet, but it is on the other side. It's pretty far west, and Pan is right on it. 2k points in round 3 in Nigeria.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
actually a lot.
Definitely not how you want to lose 2k points in a country like Nigeria. And it also seemed like Spaghet had some state name on his last panel he looked at. And you also saw his reaction. He was not happy with his guess at all. As we have another Brazil and another area code, he instantly spots the 47, which is Santa Catarina, I think.
Yes, he got there very quick, but Pan also has a 47 on another sign. This just shows how important area codes are to know in Brazil. Even though they went different directions or used different signs, both signs had the 47 area code on it. Which you just have to know if you play in this league.
Yeah, definitely one of the countries where the phone codes are just that crucial, just because of how big the country is and how hard it could be to really guess it just based off architecture alone. I feel like you really have to be from Brazil to know it without studying it, really.
I do agree, and also the amount of times the area codes show up does also count why you should learn it. And we have a great region guess from Pan there, and that's almost game already in round 5. Spaghet only on 768 health left. So let's see where we end up now. It looks like we are in United Kingdom.
Yes.
Very urban. In first glance I thought we are a bit more northern, but now the architecture looks a bit more southern to me.
It seems like Spaghet read something on the sign because he insta-locked after looking at the sign and he zoomed right into Bristol.
And it is there, right outside. Important round for Spaghet, getting those 1.6k down from Pan. He only has 4 rounds left where he really needs to lock in and turn this game around if he wants to win.
Yeah, it seems like the insta-guessing has worked out for Pan so far, and you can see he left, Spaghet a bit more space, and Spaghet instantly punishing that basically with 2k damage. As we move on to another round with Information, Vivo and Midoroni.
Yes, it looks very far northeast to me with how dry the coverage is and those mountains. So I would probably start scanning there, but we have a couple... Are those wineries?
Yeah,
no,
looks...
or yes.
I mean, it still looks very far north to me. You do get wineries in the very far north as well. And it seems like he found something again, and Pan is looking in the south maybe? And this is gonna be big damage. And we have a pole on Spaghet's image right now. It's a... it's a Limpopo pole.
Yeah, very
so this is
common
gonna be
in
game.
Limpopo. And if Pan stays there and it turns out to be there,
Wow.
Spaghet is just 13 kilometers off it and turns the game around.
10k damage,
And
more than enough.
Doesn't even matter what happened in the game. With 10k damage, you will always get your opponent down. So very important round and very important guess for Spaghet to turn this game around. Securing that win on the moving game, and we go over to no move on this matchup, Pan versus Spaghet, starting off in Europe. We have this antenna on the car. There's not much more to work with here really, besides some landscape. We see some bollards in the distance.
Yeah, I can't tell what that is. We're driving left,
Tell it
so...
either, yes, but we are driving left, and we have that antenna, which you see, yeah, pretty much in that area where it was, to all the way west of there and a bit further north. So both their guesses make a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely one of the most helpful antennas in the UK, just because Scotland can be hard to get, especially the southern parts, which look like England. And we go on to the Americas again. I feel like a lot of Americas rounds today, I have to say.
Yes, definitely. A lot. And looks like we are in Argentina. And we have a couple mountains, which makes you think more of the western side along the Andes. However, I thought it's around San Juan maybe, or even further north, but I did not think of Mendoza here.
Yeah, me neither. I thought a bit further north, just because...
Yes, Spaghet is in San Juan.
Yeah, we have some vegetation. In Mendoza, you really get just like that one species of tree and nothing else. So I kind of like Spaghet's guess more here, but we shall see.
It was further north. Yeah.
That is not even a bit further north. That is a very, very far north on the Salta Catamarca province border there.
Yeah, something felt off for it to be south. It looked a bit dry. I think that's why the players thought it's maybe a bit further south. Definitely also to be seen in the north. And here we see this symmetrical pole with asymmetrical insulators, which you commonly found in North Sumatra. I don't know if that's really a North Sumatra pole, but it seems like Pan is in North Sumatra, and so is Spaghet.
And I think the vegetation also fits.
Yeah, looks very tropical, jungly.
Ooh, Nia's guess. I don't know what poles Nia's uses, but wow, Pan goes for it.
It's the same ones, and that's a very good guess. I don't know if... usually you get this island with a certain vegetation, which we call Nia's grass.
Yeah, Nia's grass.
I don't think it was to be seen there, though. I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention to the grass.
Yeah, it's also like, are you really zooming into the grass for the off chance that it is Nia's? Nia's doesn't really come up that often. It's
true.
Rather small, but sometimes it can come up, so definitely a good guess there by Pan to even think of Nia's and then even guess there.
Yes, to be fair, I think both knew it is North Sumatra, and I think from then on their focus was on getting a better region guess in, and then you consider maybe more areas within what belongs to North Sumatra. But we have some text on the bin.
It says
Is
Greenville.
it saying Greenville?
I think it does. It looks pretty close to it, so could definitely be it.
Greenville. Spaghet is pretty close by. It's not.
Well, we don't see the town name, sadly, because we
nope.
can't zoom onto the map. So maybe it was just a different Greenville in Tennessee there. Spaghet
would
not
not be
only getting the
surprised.
state, but also region guessing it into the Appalachian Mountains.
Pan getting punished for reading. And we move over to this round, which looks like a Peru round, close to the lake Titicaca, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like we're somewhere near the lake, and we do have a smudge in the front, which usually, I feel like, if a smudge is known in Bolivia, everyone would know it. So I feel like both players will not go Bolivia here, but rather Peru, and they lock it in.
Oh, and Spaghet is on the right side of the lake. And not only that, I think he's also pretty much on the road.
Pretty much on it. You know, not that it matters that much, but, you know, for confidence, why not?
Definitely a good confidence boost, and we are in Colombia. We have these Colombian crosses on the back of the sign. If you see a cross on the back of the sign, there's a pretty good chance you are in Colombia, but we also have those white signposts, which are also a good clue for Colombia. And after that, you learn copyrights and cars. And
yeah.
With that, you'd consider this road down there, which I do like. It's
like
definitely also in more regions now, but yeah, they both get it.
Also maybe has a certain vibe to it, and if you combine everything together, that is how you get every round. Pretty much.
Definitely.
You can get every round, technically. It is possible. Unless you get an updated copyright and it's over, but...
Yep, this game is all about making a guess down where it makes the most sense. Even though you sometimes know it could be somewhere else, but... We move over to our first Taiwan round. It looks pretty flat. If it is flat, you consider the western span of Taiwan usually, with no mountains at all. It could be... Yeah, okay, it was a bit further south, but all of the western span from the north to the south has this flatness.
Yeah, pretty even game so far, and we only have 3 rounds left to go, so I feel like the game will definitely be decided in those upcoming rounds. And as we move on to a very big country again, we did have the white Google car here, so you definitely consider something like Indo or Malay. It seems like both of them instantly zooming into the coast in Sarawak.
Yeah, we had a Malaysian car. It's not a Malaysian brand, but very commonly found. I don't even know the model name, but you see this car a lot in Malaysia. But a good clue for mainland Malaysia is a black sticker on a pole, which we don't see on this location. So it's more likely to be on the Borneo side. And we have a body of water to the west, which also checks out for Borneo, or a lot of the cities along the Sarawak province.
Yeah,
We
both
have
of
a
them.
Miri guess from Pan, and Spaghet also looking around Miri, and it is indeed, and Pan is 5K'ing this one.
Very
It's right
important
on it.
5k, right on it. I feel like Spaghet also was scanning Miri, and it made the most sense just because it was the only coast that really had a straight north angle. So good spot there by Pan as we move on to a country that is very well known. I feel like at this point, who doesn't know every road in Kazakhstan except me?
I'm not 100% sure. This red dirt along the road, I think it's between Karaganda and Astana, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking about the road that goes southwest of Karaganda, like the one that goes to the middle of the country, but I am very bad. It could just be one of those.
I like Pan's guess a lot. I think it is that eastern off-road between Astana and Karaganda, but they are both in that region.
Yeah, Spaghet doesn't seem to be very sure here. He just has a rough estimate as to where the
I
location
think
could
it's
be.
a little bit further north. Yeah. Yes, very recognizable road Or to me, because I've looked at that road a couple of times. I remember it.
Well, if you've gotten that road a few times, I feel like it's just a freebie every single time. That's just how Kazakhstan really works. Only pretty much main roads and cities covered. Last round to go, last chance for Spaghet. And it doesn't look like the easiest round, so definitely something is possible here. Wooden poles.
It should be Asia. Should be maybe certain about that with how the road is built and that little hut, the oil palms. With oil palms, what do you consider with oil palms? It's in southern Thailand. You see it in Malaysia, you see it in Sumatra a lot. With this car we can rule out Thailand, so we should be in Sumatra or Malaysia.
Yeah, I want to say
those amount of oil palms.
Philippines guess here.
Spaghet is moving towards the Philippines. I don't like that guess, especially not with this pavement.
Yeah, the
you
pavement seems
really
off.
See this in Philippines.
I thought about Sabah for a second, so maybe he gets really lucky and it's Sabah. But
it could be, yes.
as of now, I feel like Pan has the better guess, but who really knows in Southeast Asia? Let's see.
It is.
It's West Sumatra, it seems. Not West Sumatra, West Kalimantan.
Is it West Kalimantan?
Or it's over the border in Malaysia. I don't know. My first.
We will
never know.
No, but what we do know is that Pan secured the win there. Very important one to stay in this match and to go over to the NMPZ mode where they only get a still image to work with.
Yeah, and the funny part is Pan, but it's no Pan now. How can he deal with that one?
I did not even
I feel like it's the first time anyone has said that joke. Surely. Surely. As we have a very descriptive European location here. First guess was maybe France. I don't know. Belgium. I don't know. Feels Western European to me.
I like the Belgium shout. With those fences and this dirt road going through a forest-y-ish area, but it could be a couple places. France is another option. I could see this being the United Kingdom. I could see this being... Well, it looks like Western Europe.
Yeah, I don't think it's Serbia really. Like, it doesn't feel Eastern European at all to me. But I think maybe Spaghet banks on the fact that we don't have an antenna, at least in the image, but it could be on the other side.
Yeah, that's not really something you can use here. Unless you leave a dirt path behind. If the car is rolling, then you know you look at the back, but it is Ukraine.
Okay. We are all very wrong. Ukraine did not even cross my mind for a single second.
Give me 10 guesses and I'm not guessing Ukraine. Maybe even more than 10.
Yeah,
definitely more than 10.
Europe has a lot of countries, so you definitely need a lot of guesses here.
But yeah, Ukraine is not something I was thinking of at all. However, now I'm thinking of Eastern Europe. Could be Romania. I like that guess.
Yeah, seems like we have some sort of maybe trident pole there, which you usually get in Romania, also Hungary. But with mountains, you're definitely more likely to be in Romania. Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't really make out that pole that I saw. I don't know if they could. Don't know if it was a distinct one. But good to see them making the both mistake. And we move over to this round where we see a lot of gas pipes.
A lot of gas pipes, yeah. Seems like either Russia or Ukraine. I can't really tell right now. My first guess was in Russia just because of it looks a bit barren.
Yes,
that makes sense.
In Russia as well. But again, we have a pole in the distance, which does not look Russian to me, but it's really hard to tell from this distance. The walls look really Russian, though.
Yeah, also we're near a factory, so it could just be, you know, the power supply for the factory itself, and they use their own poles.
Definitely.
Maybe not issued by the Russian government. But as for now, both in Russia, I kind of like the more Western guess, but I'm not really sure here.
I mean, Pan is making a good guess in case it is Ukraine. Okay, I am never guessing Irkutsk on that. That looked very dry.
Yeah, I can't wait for Finnbar to be in the chat and be like, guys, listen, this is just northwest of downtown Irkutsk. Where are we guessing? But, you know, not for me. That did not look like an easy round at all.
Yes, yeah, I don't know how to get one. I mean, I had the Russia vibe, but not Irkutsk by any means, not even that area around the Lake Baikal. Yeah. If we move over to this round, it looks like Argentina. That pole looks Argentinian. Very hard to reach against that one as well.
Yeah, guessing that far south really with the sand, like almost like red soil. Not something I associate with the southern parts of BA. Usually more like Entre Rios, Santa Fe. And yeah, so far the game has been very interesting. We had a lot of hard rounds, a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, the Ukraine round was basically impossible. As we go into this,
I
like
agree.
Japan, and it's just middle click for Spaghet here.
Yes, don't know how to reach against that one. It is Hyogo.
Sometimes
They're pretty close. They're pretty close, but I don't believe it was a region guess, because that's pretty much the standard guess you do if it looks generic and it doesn't look modern.
Well, you say that, but what if they actually had an educated guess there?
Maybe,
And
I'm just
is this Acre?
assuming.
My first thought was Acre here.
It looks like it. We have those rolling landscapes with a tiny red dirt road.
This could
So
be...
Acre does make a lot of sense here.
But if it's not Acre, I feel like
I don't
Pan just wins, so
know.
it's definitely very risky send. Let's see where it is. And it is Acre.
It is in
The casters are not washed. I called it, Spaghet got it. And that's another win for Spaghet.
Yeah.
Definitely on a roll these days. As he takes down
And
Pan
this
in no
just
Pan.
really shows how this game was pretty much decided by one round. If Spaghet wouldn't have gotten the northeastern round in the moving game in South Africa, he would have not made it to the NMPZ mode. So that was a very, very crucial, very important guess in this matchup.
Yeah, it definitely came down to like a single guess in both modes pretty much. The Acre guess in the NMPZ round we just saw. I feel like it was gettable. We had some very non-gettable rounds in the NMPZ game. But the moving game was pretty well played by Pan and just a very good guess by Spaghet in the multipliers. As we see another result coming in, Sheena winning 2-0 against Swan Gambit. We were talking about Swan Gambit. What do you make of that result?
Yeah, that is unlucky. Of course, we don't see the match. So, really hard to judge this one. But of course, congrats to Sheena
And
and Spaghet both bringing points to Japan.
I just got information by the guy in my ears saying that it was a walkover. Swan Gambit did not show up for his game, so it is a walkover win by Sheena. So Swan Gambit did not play bad, he just didn't show up to play.
Okay. Maybe overslept.
Maybe overslept.
It's
I mean,
still very early
is.
for GeoGuessr sleeping schedule standards. But yeah, we don't know. But what we do know is that was the first frame we had today. Pretty good matches so far, I want to say. The Trisha Malfunction game was really nice to watch. We saw another game that went to NMPZ here. So I'm happy with the game so far.
yeah, I'm also very happy with the game so far. You said players might be tired. We see Flyme and Strefan on the screen already, but before that, we're gonna take a quick break and be back in a few seconds.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blinky lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings, world-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.
Welcome back from this very, very short break on the Sunday, filled with awesome matchups of GeoGuessr. We have the slot today, right now, and the slot later, so a lot of GeoGuessr action going on. You know, our next matchup, it is Flyme against Strefan. Anything you can really tell us about these players and how you feel like the matchup will end?
Yes, we have Flyme versus Strefan here. I've noticed that Flyme, I feel like he did play way better in this league than I expected. He is kind of an underdog, no one really expected that. But in the last couple games, you can see it here, the win rate is still on 25%. But he did play way better in his last 1 or 2 games. So maybe he did lock in, maybe he did practice way more, maybe he did grind. I would love to see that win rate going higher, but here we have Strefan on the other side with an actual high win rate and high precision on a pretty low guess time as well. Getting these results on only 35 seconds is impressive. So if Flyme can keep that momentum, it can still be scary for Strefan.
Yeah, on paper, this looks like an easy game for Strefan, and I'm also very, positively surprised, or not maybe surprised, but Strefan has been playing very well. As you can see, he's only played 14 matches and he's doing pretty well. So I feel like if he plays out the rest of his matches like he did before, he will definitely end up in those very short to top 12, like Lenly, the 89 area. That's kind of where he's heading right now. So definitely a good start for him in this league. And as we can see, Flyme pretty much at the bottom of the table, had a very, very rough start, as you said. Definitely has been better recently, but at the start of the league he had a lot of games where he just lost 0-2, and it was a bit sad to see. But let's move on into the game.
Move on indeed, and Flyme is also one of the more moving specific players, as far as I know. So maybe good for him to start off with the moving game in Japan. And again, we have a lot of information to work with, whether you want to use the polls, whether you want to use the signs.
Yeah, it seems like Flyme is locked in onto the polls right now. He's not looking at anything else in this round. He's just, okay, let me just move around and find a poll that matches what I know about Japan, which is probably like, pole plates, guy wires, and also attachments on the poles. GeoGuessr players have figured every single detail out about Japan.
Yes.
And it says Totori.
Chugoku is the right region with those poles, and Totori is in Chugoku indeed. Another prefecture along the coast. And Strefan seems to be very close. He is indeed 870 meters. Got a very good usage of that sign. And that's really the difference of getting to a sign quick. While Flyme was still looking at that pole and gaining more information off that, Strefan's focus was more on getting even more information to make a good region guess. That worked out very well for him there. As we move over to this Russia round, looks very generic to me.
Even Estonia, I guess. This shouldn't be Estonia with the black car, definitely.
Yep.
Strefan gonna be on it, and Strefan instantly knew. He just looked at the car and the antenna for a single second and knew, okay, this has to be Yaroslavl.
Yep,
Russia just one of those countries which GeoGuessr pros have to figure out if you want to compete at a very high level. It's just, that figured out as well.
Yes, at the end of the day, the scoring is based off the distance. And if we talk about distances, big countries matter a lot. And if we talk of big countries, of course, we also think of Russia. Very important to learn that country, not only getting it right, but also reguessing it.
Yeah,
And
as
in
we're
this
back in
case-
Japan, we did have a guy wire that is specific to Kyushu, which has like a very thin top and a very thick bottom. So that is also a very good meta to know.
Yep, we also
Definitely.
have the plates. And the pole tops. And
True.
we have Flyme in Kyushu indeed.
Yeah, and
Again, getting the right region. He's using the body of water to make a region guess there. Or trying to find a spot where it fits with the water. Strefan is plunking it down. A bit further, I think it was south of it, yes. And it was the right body of water where he was originally switched up, but not much happening here.
yeah, I don't think you will get these players slipping up in something like Japan on moving. I feel like you can just move to a pole and just instantly know at least the region, maybe not the prefecture, but it's gonna be good enough. And combining that with the landscape, there's not that many areas in Kyushu that are just flat and maybe like embanked with a dike, so should be a pretty easy find, and it was.
I
As we
do
go into the US,
agree. 609 area code is not one I'm familiar with.
it looks like we have a New Jersey plate there, and
Yes,
dips.
it also looks very eastern with these houses.
Did we have a coast as well? I feel like I saw coast on somebody's screen for like a second. Maybe there? Is that
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, on
that's coast.
Strefan's screen it is, yes.
So
But those white houses are very common in the east.
I don't know what Flyme is doing. He's just looking at the map and he's thinking, where is this? But I feel like he should move around and find information. It's very unlike his usual playstyle, I feel like.
Yes, he's not really moving a lot.
And he found New Jersey in the
Yes.
last second. He found a sign saying New Jersey on the truck.
And that's where you get punished if you play against the time and just take it slow. Strefan, I feel like Strefan knew so much in that matter of time. He saw the coast, he was looking around, taking a good look at the buildings, looking at more signs. I feel like Flyme just played that one out way too slow.
Yeah, you know, I kind of have to be critical there of Flyme. I don't really know what he did in that round. It didn't look like he looked at anything, just looked at the map and was thinking, maybe was thinking in his head where this area code is found, but I feel like he should have just tried to find, you know, car plates. You know, the coast would have been good, and he even found the code for the country, for the state in the last second, so it definitely was possible for him to find something.
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. Especially if you aren't 100% confident on your area codes. It's always good to just move around and look for something else, because you can always, especially in an urban environment, find more helpful information. But we left that one in the past. We go over to the no move round here in Germany. Seems like.
Looks very German to me. Greifswald, not my first guess. Interesting
Nope.
buildings there. Definitely felt northern, but I wasn't sure
Yes.
where they were in Schleswig-Holstein or Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. Shout out to people who live there, to the 2 people who actually live there. But
In Greifswald or?
no, I mean in general. I mean, MacPom has like 2 people living there.
Yes,
And we
I
have a-
don't know anyone from MacPom.
Is that the Punjab crown there?
We
on this
do
pole?
have a window on the top, yes.
Language fits. Maybe southern
so-
Punjab because it's dryish.
Yes, it gives this Rajasthan vibe, but it should be Punjab with the poles. Therefore, I like the southern Punjab. Yes, Strefan not really committing it.
Yeah, he's not trusting it because
Neither is Flyme,
Because
so
the pole paint is found near New Delhi and also Bihar, so maybe that's why he's going very close to New Delhi. And it is
yes.
the pole paint.
Indeed. The window is not 100% Punjab. And I guess if you take the landscape into consideration and the pole paint, you can maybe work it out. So shout out to both players for not committing Punjab there, because it takes skill to go against it. Because with how low the chances are to not be in Punjab. It is nice to see them disagreeing, and we move over to this round, which seems to be a Norway round. We have some rolling mountains. Not the highest mountains you would find in Norway.
Yeah, region guessing Norway. I kind of like the Trondheim region guess. Kind of feels like a place I've been to. But who really knows in Norway?
I mean, it's also a good hedge to cover a lot of the country, but it is way further south. Yeah, makes sense with less mountains, I guess, or less bigger mountains. You can definitely get them also a bit further up, so no blame on them. And we go over to this Nigeria round. It looks very green with red soil. Things you can consider here is maybe Osogbo or...
I think it's a tricky part, because there's two regions that really have a lot of very green coverage, especially with this follow car, which are Osogbo, but also the very far east.
Yes,
near what's the town called Uyo. So I always struggle between those two, because they kind of look similar to me. But it could also just be something in the middle.
Very, very valid 50-50, because, yeah, I also thought of Osogbo, and if not, then it's east. And with how jungly rural it is, I guess it makes sense. It was northeast of Enugu. Very close guess there.
Yeah, Strefan pretty much controlling this game right now. The only thing that can really stop him right now, I feel like, are the multipliers, which are building up. We are already on 3x, and they will only increase from now on as we go into another Japan, and we have these attachments.
Yes, it should be Shikoku with that one.
Yeah, I think it's Shikoku or Chugoku, but I think it's Shikoku.
Yes, it should be. Flyme knows his pulse definitely, because on every 3 rounds we had in Japan, he was in the right region. And he's again, but so is Strefan. Of course, they know it is Shikoku. Region guessing Shikoku here is kind of difficult, but with mountains on both sides, I just click in the middle, honestly. That's a great guess from Flyme getting the right prefecture, but Strefan was on the right mountain range, so on both sides, very good guesses, not much happening there, and we move over to the next round, in round 6, which is Malaysia. I've been talking about this black stick on the pole earlier today, but this time we should be on mainland.
As we know, with the new coverage, the black stick has expanded. It's spreading. It's spreading like a virus, and it's. But this does not look like Sarawak. So I will definitely say this is mainland, somewhere near Kuala Lumpur. Just looks like a very urban environment.
Oh, wow. Paris.
Okay, that is very fun off.
Usually a region you kind of always get the vibe to, but we were surrounded by a building, to be fair. There was not much to work with. No landscape, because Perlis has a very distinct looking landscape where you have a very flat terrain with a couple of mountains sticking out. We couldn't really see them on that location.
Yeah, and speaking of recognizable, terrain, I mean, it's just flat with these trees. You just click Tuba or Jobel, really. In Senegal, it's just definitely one of the easiest type of rounds in Senegal, where you don't really have to think a lot. You just see the trees and you instantly know. And speaking of knowable things, it's just the most famous road in all of Chile. But it's a long road.
It is. Okay. Just not too long ago, I sent this road to our Discord. I don't know if you saw it. Where I said cool rocks.
Cool rocks?
Because this has some cool volcanic rocks along the road.
Yeah,
but yeah, somewhere along that span makes sense.
Now it's just who knows the roads better. We do have a haze in the front.
About working out the alignment here. Use the mountain range we have here and the road alignment to scan the road and get it right, but it was all the way north on the border of the province.
And that means we only have 2 rounds to go, and that means Flyme only has 2 rounds to go to, win this game and also win this match, because if he loses this, that's just a 2-0 clean sweep by Strefan here. as we go into another US round, it seems. And it looks like we have Southern Pines, but I don't know where to guess here.
Yes, we again have some reddish tint in the road, which you don't find too often in the south, I want to say. But the vegetation looks south. It looks almost like Alabama, where you are between... Yeah, I like the span from between Texas and Georgia is what I thought.
I think that's a pretty big span, but yeah, I think I agree.
Span.
Especially with the
three
single yellow
states.
line.
Louisiana, Alabama. And it is right between Texas and Georgia, pretty much.
And that
Indeed,
means
but they
Flyme dropping down. 3k points difference between these two players and only a single round left to go. Round 10 out of 10. We are in Indonesia, Pematang Siantar. Does anyone know that?
I do not know that one, but what I do know is that we have those roofs which you see in Sumatra a lot.
Yeah, the overhanging
With
roof.
the... Oh, yes, the overhang. See that a lot in Malaysia and in Sumatra.
Also, the green roof is also Sumatra meta, I think. And
Wow.
he knew.
What?
He
That is insane.
did know. What can you really do? And that just means, you know, a pretty clean game by Strefan, I would say.
That is an insane guess. I mean, knowing Sumatra is one thing, but getting the right region right is great. But getting the right town right, that is really insane. So shout out to Strefan for getting that one. A really impressive guess there to end this game off.
Yeah, he did pretty much, you know, bank on the mistakes of Flyme in the moving game, but in a no-move game, I think he really just, you know, showed how good he is. Yeah, not much to do there for Flyme, really. Maybe, you know, work on his playstyle in the moving mode. Maybe that's just his plan, thinking a bit more about the clues he already found and not moving around too much, but Strefan pretty much did both, moved around and used the clue to the best degree, really.
Yeah, sometimes you look back at a game and look what you did wrong. And let's say for Flyme, maybe he looked back at a game where he was moving too fast and missed out on so much information by moving fast. So maybe he was thinking, okay, I need to change my playstyle to take it a bit slower, to really get everything I get from every panel. And it backfired. It backfired definitely in this game. So I don't know, maybe that was the case, maybe not. What I know is that we are going over to the next match, Feneb versus Trisha.
Feneb definitely had a rocket start to the league. He was first place for a few days, I think. Now definitely has dropped a bit lower. We see 40% win rate. Average guess time very long. Good precision stats. But on the other hand, we just saw Trisha play. And if Trisha plays the same way he just played, it's going to be very tough for Feneb. But I think you know and I know Feneb definitely a good moving player. So it's pretty much the same setup, really.
Yes.
Feneb needs to win a moving game, just like Malfunction. And if he doesn't, it's going to be very tough.
Definitely. If you look at the stats looked very similar. So you would assume, okay, they're probably the same players, same play style they have, maybe, but no, definitely not. If you tell me, yo, Feneb is playing against Trisha, I'm thinking of two very different players with very different play styles. Whereas Feneb is more of a moving player and Trisha more no move. But yeah, we start off here with Science, which you do love to see.
Come on,
Especially
Feneb.
as a moving player.
Give us the 5k.
Let's see, they are both around Girona. Now we know the town, Ziggy. Girona.
Shout out to Diono's, what's the name again? Rondo video?
Rondo, yes. Where we had it as a question. And yeah, both getting pretty close. Of course, with the Science. Not a surprise.
No surprise there. And another, you know, America's round really can't seem to leave this place today.
No, we don't. I do not complain. The Americas are pretty cool. We have...
He finds a taxi with the town name on it. I think red taxis are Veracruz. And Tuxtla... Where is that town again?
I've heard of it. I would probably also find it on a map, surely.
Is it? No. I don't know. It seems familiar, but I can't really place it down. Or maybe it doesn't mean any place name. It just means something in Mexican. I was about to say.
I mean, there's Tuxtla Gutierrez in Chiapas.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's that. We are probably butchering the pronunciation bad there.
Yeah, probably.
So-
But it also seems like Feneb has
Sorry
found more
for the
information
viewers.
because he instantly zoomed into Veracruz after looking at this wall. And it seems like Trisha's very far away in Michoacan. Maybe didn't see the taxi. Or anything, really. And it's gonna be Veracruz. The red taxi does not lie, you know. Cars travel, but taxis usually stay on their perimeter as they operate.
They do.
So definitely a good thing to know in Mexico. You know, you have the pink taxi in CDMX, you have the red taxi in Veracruz, and then you have a bunch more that I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, taxi matters are actually something players overlook a lot. You have that in other countries as well. Also in small countries like Jordan has different taxis for each city, but also countries like Argentina, which are pretty hard to guess on urban environments sometimes. It's also a country where you can use taxis to distinguish between cities. And we are in Sweden here, the home country of GeoGuessr.
We do have signs for both players.
Do have them. I do not know these places.
Yeah, I've never heard of Morbilonga.
They are findable, maybe not. We have a Gotland.
I think he's just
Trisha.
checking. Oh, he found it. It's on. What's it called? I forgot the town name. No, the island name. Öland. Sorry.
Oh, Öland. Okay, yeah. It was all the way south in Öland.
Cheeky 5k by Feneb there. And he is still on the flawless, taking Trisha below half health already, and we're only 3 rounds in, so our prediction has become true so far of Feneb dominating this moving game.
Yeah. On an average, against an average player, you wanna say Trisha made a great guess. They're getting Erland right, but Feneb is just on it. Within. And we have a very weird bollard. It's yellow instead of red. This looks like a Polish bollard.
And it is a Polish bollard, but there's a road number on it, or maybe it's a kilometer?
Yes, I think you get the road number on the beginning of a provincial road. So, yeah, it was the beginning of a road probably.
Well, we're basically in
Yeah,
Ukraine
on the
or
border.
Slovakia pretty much. We're on the tri-point there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Whenever a road starts in Poland, you have the road number written on the bollard. Pretty good to know.
Well, I know now, and maybe the players do know now as well. As we move on to Australia, we do have sugarcane and the black car, which you usually get in very far north, Rockhampton,
Yes.
like Cairns as well.
Yes, indeed. Along the coast of Queensland in general, you see a lot of sugarcane.
And did Feneb find the small town name he just had on the sign? I don't know, but he clicked a very specific place.
I did not see the place name on his screen. I was looking over to Trisha's.
That seems like
at that
Trisha is
time.
right on it as well. And yeah, we're
Yeah,
in Mila Mila, of course. What else?
Yeah, very impressive from both again. To get the right region down there in this amount of time.
Yeah, seems like, I don't know how Feneb found it, but Trisha found it with a better sign, I would say. He found a sign with big towns in both directions, while Feneb just had a sign saying the town name itself. But obviously he's from Australia, so, you know, he is expected to know.
Definitely, and we are in Thailand here. It looks very touristy.
Very touristy for sure.
So I would consider Phuket or... Yep, that makes sense, especially with the body of water and... Could be another island, maybe, around that region.
Well, I know it's not Koh Samui
But-
because that has a different car. Nerd, but definitely could be anything really around Phuket, or as you said, maybe some random island. As they both move to the same sign in the same second.
Yeah, did Feneb just ignore the sign because he was looking at it for such a
I don't
short
know.
amount of time?
Maybe he doesn't need it. Switch to
It's
Koh
going
Samui.
actually Koh Samui.
I mean, it's not Koh Samui, but he
It's
gets
further
closer.
north along the coast of the mainland, and that's a lot of points, bringing Trisha down to only 841 health.
No, a bit unlucky for Trisha because Koh Samui is not possible with that car, but you know, Feneb, you know, just vibe guessing. these players don't
To
know
be fair, it's
everything,
also
so
somewhat of a good hedge
yeah.
to
I mean,
cover along of the coastal side. So it's a good chance to get closer from there. And we are in India here. We have a lot of billboards and text.
a lot of sign. Urban hellhole here, really. Holy, we have
you
a
don't
lot of
even
traffic.
know what you want to look at here. So many stuff going around.
And we do have a Bihar palm there, which you get a lot, but actually Bihar, let's see. It is.
It is indeed, and Feneb securing the win here on this round.
Yeah, pretty flawless game so far. I mean, the only real hiccup was the Poland round, and I think Trisha didn't really know, he just had a vibe guess, but every other round, Feneb was really in control. He either made a better guess or a similar guess to Trisha, so very deserved on his part. As we go into the second game of No Move, and now, you know, Trisha has to win both games, and Feneb can lean back and be like, okay, I won one game, and now I just need to win a second one.
Indeed, starting off in a very foresty, hilly road. That pole top looks indeed Czechian or Slovakian. Which I didn't really think off the bat when I was looking at this round. But I would maybe trust the pole. They are both in Czechia for now.
I agree with it,
Any
because
buildings? I mean, how do you distinguish between Czechia, Slovakia? It's usually just landscape and coverage clues. But in this case, it could have been either. But yeah, turned out to be Czechia. Maybe the mountains weren't big enough.
yeah, I think that's pretty much the giveaway, really. If you have big mountains, go Slovakia. If you have small mountains, go Czechia. At least that's how I do it. Or you have the copyright, which is also helpful. Slovakia only copyright 22 and onwards, and you know, Czechia still has a lot of 2019 around, so also something that the players always have in their mind as we go into a Philippines round. But how do you region guess this one?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking of... I mean, we have a lot of palm trees, which makes you think along the eastern side of Philippines all the way to the south, especially with how spammed they are. But you get them all the way on the northern tip of Philippines as well. So, I don't know, being in a valley like this maybe doesn't fit for all the way north.
Yeah. My vibe guess was Samar Island, because I don't know, this doesn't seem like Mindanao to me. It seems like one of those eastern islands, like Samar Leyte,
Yes.
or a bit further north of that. So I kind of like Trisha's guess here.
Yep, I like that as well, because it is covering a lot of the regions I was thinking of along the east, and it is indeed over there.
Philippines, definitely an underrated country when it comes to region guessing. There are some people who definitely, you know, gotten better at it, and it is possible, even though, you know, I feel like 2 years ago everyone agreed, yeah, this is just a country, just pray and click somewhere, go middle, click Cebu, and go next, as we go into a Galician forest, I would say.
Yeah, shout out to Renegade Chicken, shout out to Banana Man, both known to have some research done in the Philippines and who do prove that it is region guessable. And yeah, I think the guess close to Portugal makes a lot of sense with those trees.
Ooh, the ending on the sign sounds Portuguese, but I don't know how similar Galician is. Like, it ends in HA, which is usually something you see in Portugal or Brazil, obviously.
Yep, well, the vegetation looks more towards Portugal, which is probably also why Trisha is hovering and hugging the border of Portugal, and Feneb also going back to Spain. He had his plong in Portugal for a time, and it is on the coast, actually. I was about to say this doesn't look coastal.
Nope, didn't have the coastal vibes.
Wow, I am surprised it was right next to the ocean.
I mean, we say right next to the ocean, but there could be like a pretty decent elevation gain, which, you know, would usually explain the weird vegetation you get in those coastal areas. As we go into the Americas again, we do have the stubby antenna with black tar.
Should be Colombia with that.
But the rest,
Most
I didn't really think of
likely
Colombia
it did
here.
not look like it, no. Well, if it's looking like this, it could be east or north. Maybe. Doesn't really look north because it doesn't look dry. It looks pretty green.
I was about to say it looks pretty dry, but maybe that's just me. I mean, the
The soil looks dry, but I don't know. The vegetation looks very green.
It could just be wet season, you know.
Yeah, could be.
But we do have an east guess, as you mentioned. I didn't really vibe east at all here. I just thought maybe in the middle somewhere random or in the north, so...
Yeah, I think the east makes sense with the terrain. And it is southeast of Yopal, east of the Andes, where you get this type of terrain. But I agree, it didn't really look like it otherwise. But yeah, you trust that. I think that was gettable. And we go back to Kazakhstan. This time, I do not know the road.
Wait, you don't know every road?
I do not know every single road in Kazakhstan.
It seems
I
like
have
Feneb
to
knows.
apologize for that one.
That's a very risky guess, you know. That did
Spaghet.
seem like more north
This
to me.
road, doesn't this road have a smudge on top of the car?
We have
I
two
cannot
completely
see
different guesses here. We have one Karaganda hover by Trisha, and we have one near October, road to Uralsk. So we could see the game. I feel like we will see the game. I don't know.
Could be definitely with 3x, and if one of them is right on it, that could definitely be game. But it doesn't seem like Trish is scanning on a road. He's trying to make a region guess.
Yeah, I think he's not
More
very
than
sure.
that, he's considering a lot of regions in Kazakhstan, whereas Feneb looks way more confident, zooming in a road immediately, and he is indeed in the right region. The confidence didn't lie. And it is game. That's the match win for Feneb here, securing the win against Trisha in a 2-0 fashion. Another one of those games where a 2-0 looks dominant, but
Yeah.
they both played really, really well.
Yeah, especially in this last game, I feel like it all came down to just knowing every road in Kazakhstan. And yet again, not every player really likes to commit to these countries, which are... It's not fun to learn, it's just, you know, it's a known evil to just know countries that are big and have not a lot of coverage, like Kazakhstan, like Mongolia. I feel like pros are just expected to know every single road, and if they don't, the other opponent will definitely know. It's unlikely that both are wrong in something like Kazakhstan. So yeah, but other than that, the no-move game was pretty even, I would say. As we see another game going down, Malfunction losing again 2-0 against Sazdiu. So not the best day for her today, but she has a third game today, but it is against Finnbar. So not the easiest of opponents.
Sounds scary. That's not the last opponent I want to face after I've been down 2 times. So let's see how that will turn out. And we do see Finnbar playing next up already as well against Captain Ireland versus Sweden.
Yeah, and we saw in the standings, you see them side by side, Finnbar and Captain, 37, 36 points. So, you know, definitely going to be a bit of a duel against each other, because you want to get as far away as possible from the 12th spot, because even though the World League influences how you qualify for the World Cup, the majors also award points per region. So you definitely want to have a safe distance, you know, maybe that 7th place is a very safe spot to be in before the majors, but everyone definitely wants to get as many points as possible.
I do agree.
Speaking of, the major locations have been released, and what a lineup we have. GeoGuessr is going global, so if you are not from Europe, you don't have to travel to Sweden again just to see GeoGuessr. You can go to Tokyo, which I think is a pretty sick location, located in the Tokyo Tower. Not sure how GeoGuessr pulled that off, but they did. Definitely looking forward to seeing that location. Then you also have Dallas on the DreamHack, which is going to be a bit of a longer event. You can see 23rd to 25th of May. And then you have Jönköping or John Shopping. It's not said here.
You don't have the translation next this
yeah,
time.
no translation, but
we have learned it.
So yeah, I'm looking very much forward to that. And then obviously the final of it all, the GeoGuessr World Cup 2025, the first World Cup outside of Sweden, really. This time staying in Scandinavia, if you count Denmark as Scandinavia, going to Copenhagen in the KB Hall on August 29th to 30th. You can get your tickets right now, as you can see, and even if you subscribe on Twitch, the money goes straight to the prize pool after the GeoGuessr World Cup. And also, if you sub, you have a chance of winning a GeoGuessr goodie bag. And I also think the winner of the last week was MJ Shorty 14 or something like that.
19.
19, sorry. MJ Shorty 19. So yeah, you will definitely
your DMs.
check your DMs, and as you see, you will get the DM on Twitch, so don't get scammed. Yeah,
Congrats to him, and subscribe if you want to be in this pool of the raffle and want to support the World Cup winner. It will go into the pool. And yeah, let's talk about the next game, Ziggy, shall we?
Yeah, I think we could talk about the game, but I think we have a lot of time left for the game. You know, Finnbar Captain, it's going to be a very hype matchup, but before that, we're going to take, you know, a bit of a longer break to prepare for this awesome matchup. Pretty much the clash off the top of the table that the players are playing right now. So yeah, get yourself something to drink and prepare for an awesome matchup. Finnbar with his captain after a short break. See you then.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blinky lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings. World-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.
And we are back from this break. Awesome matchups today, but maybe the most awesome matchup today is coming up right now. Finnbar playing against Captain, pretty much 9th against 10th place. GeoGuessr, what can we expect from these two people?
Yeah, I mean, Finnbar is a known name, a known face, a known player. He played in the last World Cup as well. Very, very great, very, very strong player. And on the other side, we have Captain, who is pretty new to the scene. He only really, appeared in the EMEA last year. Was it EMEA? No, he played in the qualifiers. And I mean, Captain, we also saw him playing at the DreamHack, of course. But I think he impressed a lot of people because it's, as I said, new name, you don't have any expectations, but look at this. 77% win rate on 61% precision. Those stats are insane, and those stats don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, similar stats, but they seem to be just a bit higher on Captain's end on pretty much every single account here. But don't be fooled by that. I feel like the difference will be very marginal. I think we're in for a treat of a game. I would definitely hope that we get to see one of the closest games so far, because I feel like we had a lot of 2-0s today, but this can go either way pretty much, and I just hope we get an awesome match.
Yes, indeed. I mean, they are both top 10 players, and we have been saying a lot, this leaderboard can trick you sometimes by the amount of matches played, or they got unlucky and all that, but no, these are two players who definitely belong in the top 10. And are there indeed, and are facing each other right now as we start in this moving game in Australia. We are driving on the left. We have those Australian bollards on the side of the road, which makes identifying Australia pretty easy. And now we have this guardrail ending, the yellow ending with the black stripe crossing it, which is New South Wales almost specific.
Pretty much, yeah.
We have them both in New South Wales. Getting a region guess down, didn't really have the information they wanted. Finnbar getting a little bit closer there. Not really crucial damage though. And we go over to round 2. So we are in Europe. This time we have what looks like, I wanted to say Austria. We have an antenna, which we can see, and yeah, it is. We have German language, which we have also seen in the Twitch chat, so you should recognize the German language by now.
True. A lot of German people in the chat from Spaghet and of course Lenly. I mean, Lenly right now kind of popping off on YouTube, has to be said. Definitely check him out if you are German. But I guess that's where most people are coming from anyway, so
Definitely.
don't really need to promote him, but still shout out, long-standing member of the community. As we go into Sweden with a lot of signs, and Captain being from Sweden, instantly knowing where Strömsund is.
Yes, this time we have a Swedish player on the board on the Sweden round, but Finnbar knows how the road number ordering works in this country, which does help. And he gets very close as well. Captain did put that pressure on, but he got there in the end, reducing the damage to only 30.
Yeah, I feel like both these players are very able in the moving mode, so I definitely could see this going all the way pretty much and being decided on the health left after 10 rounds. But there can always be like a pretty hard round later on, which just decides the game on the spot, so you definitely have to stay consistent. As we have a yellow, which is, as we all know, Latvian for street.
Yes, should be Latvia. Also, this E letter with the stripe on it. So we have language. The architecture looked Baltic. The bus stop also looked kind of Baltic. So yeah, we should be in Latvia. It looks pretty urban for Baltic standards. Usually you're only on the dirt path somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the Baltics, but this time we actually see a lot on our surroundings. Let's see if they will find the right information they need to get a better region guess down. which shouldn't matter too much in a country like Latvia, which isn't too big, and is also in a shape where you can't really make a lot of mistakes.
Finnbar opting for the very far east send pays off. I wonder what he saw. I mean, he saw some sign and then instantly went all the way over. He was in a very similar spot as Captain initially, but good switch from him there. Getting 500 points in something like Latvia. You know what, not the worst.
Yep, definitely not. Especially with the multis ramping up slowly.
And seems like Captain instantly found a good sign in Malaysia. Very good to get the state name and then the city name. And it seems like there's going to be quite a bit of points. And Finnbar trying to switch.
Couldn't switch.
He saw Kota Baru on his sign, I think. It literally said Kota Baru in a few kilometers. And that's going to be 2.5k damage. But we saw his ping on the map. He knew he'll be frustrated. But that's just how it is, you know. Captain putting the pressure on with instant guess. And going on to...
only an assumption, but Finnbar saw him guessing quick, and with him guessing quick, he assumed that Captain found something. He went back to the original position and moved the other way, which is a skill you need to have as a moving player. As we go over to Turkey round, we have Ulubey, which is south of Uşak.
Yeah, shout out Uşak.
I've been there last year. Ulubey. It's right there on the screen on the right. Very small town. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't, but I trust you in Uşak province.
Yeah.
One of the few provinces I trust you in. To know a few more towns.
We
US
have...
round.
Yes. I don't know why the little lines looked a bit wide.
They did.
Because this... should be Oregon then.
Like the rest of it, I
very
didn't really
dry
vibe Oregon
so
though.
maybe we are far east in Oregon.
And Captain found an Idaho plate there. You have the red on top and the blue on the bottom. I don't think it's Idaho. Like
Maybe... okay, if someone tells me this is Idaho, I would believe it, depending on who's saying it. But I would not send it myself, but it is. So you trust the lines. We have some white lines, which is commonly found in Oregon. But the overall landscape didn't look like the typical... if you think of Oregon, you think of big, like, mountainous roads with big mountains. Forested road with big mountains is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's what I say.
But yeah. We had a dry landscape there as we move over to this round.
Yeah, it said a town name on that sign by Captain. It said like something C Playas.
I thought of either Guayaquil or all that span to the west of that. And this does look more coastal. It looks
very dry, so Salinas I kind of like where Finnbar is right now. While he takes a big sip and Captain is trying to adjust his guess.
Yeah. Let's span from Guayaquil to the west where Finnbar's guess is. You see those electricity counters a lot in that region we had. Those round Mexican looking ones. Back then when I did my Ecuador research. Something I've noticed.
Do you have any research
Not
in Belgium?
Too important and not at all.
Pretty.
I don't think I know any region specific thing in Belgium. Do you?
If it's flat, it's west. Boom! And it is pretty flat in
Well,
this
you can use language as well to
true.
distinguish between north and south. But
seems like-
as like actual meta, I don't think I know anything. Of course, you have the red car, but I couldn't tell you like the exact regions. So no, I don't know any Belgian meta, unfortunately.
Do you really need to though? I feel like the country is quite obvious
is
most of the time.
The real question, yeah, and you don't gain much
Città de
points
Otranto.
anyway.
Does anyone know where the city of Otranto is? And
It
wow,
is right on the
Captain
coast.
knows the city.
Captain is there. It feels like he heard of it before.
Yeah.
Because he was like looking in that region and maybe he was like, wait, isn't it here somewhere? And he did spot it pretty quick. Is Finnbar committing way further stuff? This could be game, actually. It is, definitely game.
I mean, it is last
What
round,
am I
and we
saying?
almost
Yeah.
have a 5k by Captain here.
Yeah.
Insane town knowledge. Not a big town there, Otranto. I have personally never heard of it. To me, it looked like the East Coast near Lecce, but still impressive to instantly scan there or even know the town beforehand. And that means Captain goes up 1-0 against Finnbar.
Definitely. A
Pretty-
very quick paced game. I didn't even realize we are on round 10 already. I I was surprised it was round 10, but we move over to no move. We
And-
have a Senegal round.
A rare Senegal Gen 3. I feel like seeing Senegal Gen 3 is very rare these days. But
Yes,
we still have the rifts. Sometimes you forget that Senegal rifts were such a huge meta, but now that everything is Gen 4, you don't really see them that much. It seems like Finnbar knows the road, or at least the
Almost.
region.
That's an impressive guess. Especially guessing Gen 3. Because most of that has been forgotten.
But maybe it's because he's playing the game longer than Captain. It's just, he still knows those Gen 3 roads. On the other hand, you have Captain who maybe joined the game when everything was Gen 4 already. Could also, play a part really. Some things that have been very consistent in the past have been, pretty much removed. Same with Lithuania random blurs. Also something you don't really
that's
see
also
anymore.
something I haven't seen in a long while.
Yeah, I got it
Random
yesterday and I was
blurs
like,
in the camera.
yeah, that was a meta. Right, I've not seen it in a year. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
As we go, I mean, this round just seems like the average Manila suburb, but
Yes, it looks very urban with how tight these buildings are built next to each other.
we have a Kolo hover. Is this?
No,
It's a white
this
plate, but
is the Philippines.
there is a
We
yellow
have the
plate there, but it's on a bus.
We have the Philippines marker on the car.
And we see an instant regret
Wow.
by Captain here, and that's going to be a flawless 2-0 game. Big mistake made by
he
Captain
got
there.
gaslit by the yellow plate, probably.
Yeah, the yellow plate on the bus, you definitely get those on buses in the Philippines. So that will be a 1-1 very quick game. Other
And to
than the
be
moving
fair,
game.
the Philippines is actually sharing a lot of infrastructural things that you also see in Latin America.
That is true.
For example, the electricity counters, octagonal poles. Those are both things you see in Mexico, for example. So, can't blame him there.
And wow, what a round one
But
to start off in an NPC here.
Now it's getting interesting. What do we have?
My initial thought was
Trees.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, the trees look a bit more coastal, a bit more southern with the soil. It could be Brazil. I didn't think of Brazil off the bat. I was still thinking of other possibilities, but I guess by default, if you see red soil
Sun seems
and
north,
this
maybe.
vegetation, yes, if you combine those three things, it will make things easier, but not easy by any means.
But it feels like both players have locked in. They're both on the same town pretty much in Santa Catarina. Both near Chapeco.
Yeah, probably going for the default southern hedge. Whereas I don't really... Well, I guess, yeah. It could be further north, but I didn't see this being way further south than that.
I feel like the soil being like slightly
Uh,
red and also like grainy is also a thing you kind of see in like Panhandle Arch. So maybe that's why, they're more inclined to go that area. And I quite
yeah.
like Finnbar's insta-guess near the Flinders Ranges. Definitely feels like there.
Could see that. I also can't really put it in any other state. With how dry it is.
that scent.
So yeah, I do like that.
Ooh, Captain is thinking about Wa, I think, because he did pan towards Wa for a second there. And it is Wa, although it's coastal Wa, and we have 0 point damage. We have
Yes.
the cling, which also I feel like it's an underrated sound in GeoGuessr. It's
Definitely.
kind of satisfying to hear.
It does sound
sometimes.
satisfying. It isn't satisfying as a player, maybe, because
Yeah.
that just means you were both wrong. But still a nice sound.
Another Australia, Tasmania, insta-guess by captain. Makes sense. I mean...
We have those spiky bushes, which you see a lot in Tasmania. You can also see it in Victoria. That's probably why Finnbar is swimming in the ocean. Okay, he did adjust his spin towards the coast. He kind of hedged towards the mainland, probably, to reduce damage in case it is.
You know what a lot of players do? They take a sip after pretty much every guess. Is it like a mental reset thing, or how do you like see that?
I don't know. Maybe they have some coaches who taught them that.
Maybe, but
It'd be a thing.
But I feel like I've seen Finnbar and also Harrier does it a lot. He takes a sip of Coke after pretty much every guess. Just a small sip, you know, be locked in.
Harrier Coke sip is iconic. Let's talk about this round. We have some ladder poles.
My first thought was this is like one of the off-roads west of Punta Arenas, but this could also be somewhere just near Vina del Mar. I don't really know what the landscape is.
No, I think it should be further south, right?
I really like Punta Arenas as a guess.
Yes, I do
feel like there are roads like this there.
Far south in Chile.
And it is, and that will be more than enough, I think, to close out this game. You know, 2 big mistakes in the 2 modes. I'm not the big mistake in this last round because I feel like it was not that easy and straightforward as the Philippines round, but yeah, Captain taking the 2-1 here. And I think he's also not passing Finnbar, but I think they're on the same amount of points now. So definitely shows how close these 2 players are in skill. Even though, you know, today maybe it didn't show how consistent they usually are, both of them with a single big mistake. But other than that, I feel like it was pretty consistent. Also, as you said in the moving game, it didn't feel like 10 rounds because we're both on so much health left. And it was already round 10 and they didn't have that much health lost.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree. We had a match where you only had to be right in the right moment. If you didn't take your opportunity on those rounds, this could have been anyone's game. And it was. So we got to NMPZ. Captain didn't get his 3 points, which he needed to pass Finnbar on the leaderboard. But nonetheless, they are both on the same points now.
Yeah, and we have another matchup in the pipeline. I think it is Sazdiu against Pan. We just saw Pan earlier playing against Spaghet. You know, making that big mistake in ZA, in the northern ZA, costing him the moving game. And now he's back for some revenge, maybe. Sazdiu against Pan. I feel like...
Maybe it's possible. We have Sazdiu stats here. 54% win rate, 49% precision, and 29 seconds guess time, which is pretty quick.
I feel like these numbers are very similar.
Yes, this is the most similar. Like, I feel like, did we have any other match where it was this close?
I think there was one matchup earlier. I feel like it was Trisha against Malfunction. No, not that. I think some other game was very close, but as you can see, only the win rate is really low on Pant, even though his precision is better, but maybe Sazdiu just makes quick guesses in very crucial moments, and that's where he gets that one guess that decides the game in. Both only 16 games played. We saw people with 25 games played already, so definitely don't expect them to be this far down on the table as time goes on.
A lot can happen here, and we are in the match, and we see Sazdiu blunking down. I mean, it is Sri Lanka. What are the chances he found some information here?
Yeah, this looks very far north to me in Sri Lanka. Yeah, kind of like the northern guess here.
Probably just a vibe guess there.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't care about those 200 points, but definitely around that solvable, very dry, and also we had some water to the west, so didn't have to lose 200 points, but he was like, okay, whatever.
Nope.
I don't care.
That is fair, and we move on. We are in India. We have some southern language. Don't see any town. Oh, there is a good sign. Well, I need that last section that's covered by his map now to see what state it's saying. But we have them in Tamil Nadu. It's in Bangalore right now. Both are, with their pins so far. If they leave it like this, then it won't matter too much on this round. It was actually in Karnataka.
I mean, Bengaluru is in Karnataka. But
Oh, true.
Karnataka is just a very long state, I would say. It makes like a half moon shape pretty much along the coast, and then it cuts in south and north as well.
In my head, I was still in Tamil Nadu. I forgot they switched to Bengaluru.
Happens.
And we are in the United Kingdom. Looks like we have an area code, maybe?
You know, Harry, I would know it right now, instantly saying Jeff. That is just here.
I feel like a lot of the British players know the area codes.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's used a lot. Not something most players learn, though. But architecture looks a bit more southern, at least southern half of the UK.
I tend to agree here.
A lot of these brick buildings with the reddish brick.
Yeah, the Victorian era buildings still very abundant in the UK. I feel like a lot of very old houses, like built in the 1880s. Definitely see them a lot.
They are very durable, as it seems. We
like
are in Japan. We have
the
this
arrow.
yellow arrow, which you see in Chugoku. And we have a Chugoku guest from Sazdiu there, also from Pan. Now, who will make a better region guess within the region of Chugoku?
Seems like both of them are in a very, very similar spot, so very minimal.
Yes, just right outside Okayama. And
so far,
still
so good.
Pretty equal health. It's only 700 points difference, and we are in around 5 already.
Ooh, this could be bigger points though. Seems like Indonesia here, right off the bat.
Yes, I'm surprised we didn't have any Kabupaten written on that sign there. But that's what they are probably looking for. We have a lot of tiled roofs here. Actually, bunker roofs. Doesn't look like bunker.
Shouldn't be bunker.
But it should be Java then, probably. Up in the mountains of Java. Where you also tend to see some metal roofs as well, the higher up you are.
Ooh, speaking
Because
of
metal
Kabupaten, it
is
says
just-
Bogor. Which is, I think, just outside of...
Bogor.
No, that's Bogossi. Where's Bogor? I don't know. I forgot.
You forgot.
I forgot. There it
it's
is.
right
It was
outside
South
Jakarta.
I thought it was called
Okay.
like Bogossi or something, but maybe that's a different one. Both of them finding it. Different signs though, funnily enough.
Yeah, right outside. Still in West Java, close to the Banten province.
Yeah, I was hoping for big points in that Indonesia round, but if you give those players up Kabupaten, there will be not a lot of points exchanged.
Nope, not at all. And we are in Brazil. Looks pretty dry, which makes you think of Bahia with mountains, or maybe a bit further north of that.
Yeah, also we have this long grass. Usually, you know, Tocantins long grass. It looks like Tocantins grass had a rough day because it looks pretty dry.
Indeed, could be. Especially with those palms, I feel like
Palm trees
maybe we are
also.
a bit more western.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it has a mix of different, like, there are a lot of clues, but every clue I see is more of a thing for another state. So maybe if you
It says Minas
combine
Gerais, it
those...
says MG. So we're gonna
Okay.
be in MG, and that is a
then
town
we
name
are
actually.
even south of Bahia.
Carlos Cargas. Or Carlos Chagas.
Let's see, they are both scanning over the map, but of course that's you with that sign in the right region, and that is game. In
One
a
round
country like
knockout.
Brazil, you are not allowed to make any mistakes, not on 3.5x damage.
And we always said Brazil can be very hard. You need those information, those phone codes, those, you know, abbreviations of states. And Sazdiu, you know, just the lucky one to find the right one. Or maybe it's skill because you moved in the right direction, then turned around to see a big billboard.
Yeah, it can happen, and we move over to this round, which looks like the average Patagonian Argentina round.
Yeah, you get, I feel like this coverage you get on the border between Rio Negro and is that Chubut? I feel like that's kind of the area I would go.
Chubut is the next one to the south. I mean, I do like the Rio Negro plonk more than Chubut.
I would click the border right off the bat.
But I could see it being both, definitely.
I click the border on those locations.
That's fair. Let's see. It is medal of Rio Negro, and Sazdiu is almost right on it. Only 43 kilometers is impressive on a location like this.
Yeah, but also seems like he knew the road instantly because he was also scanning even angles on that road. So he was fairly confident. Didn't really check anything else. Didn't even go with his marker into... Oh, there's a... Oh, no.
Look at that.
Not the posted note.
Tell us, Ziggy.
Okay,
we have
listen.
the yellow posted sign.
There's a sign on that tree that says posted. This looks nothing like Pennsylvania, but apparently somebody has told me that if you see a posted sticker on a tree in the US, it's Pennsylvania. Even though I wouldn't really go with that guess.
I will bet against it on this location. I'm
me
gonna
too.
tell you that much. What?
Okay.
North Dakota.
Yeah, that's a bit of a wild one. I feel like we had red soil or reddish soil.
Nothing looked like North Dakota there to me.
Well, you know, maybe Pennsylvania wasn't the worst guess latitude-wise.
True. That was actually a wild one. Like the vegetation, the terrain, the soil, nothing really made me think of the Dakotas at all. But neither did the players think of it, so nothing to blame there. We are in Oman. It looks pretty deserty.
It looks south, definitely.
Yes, we don't have those big mountain ranges you see in the north.
Pretty far south commit by
Kind of
Sazdiu.
use the alignment of them, but yeah. Well, Pan had a coastal vibe there. He is on the coast. Getting closer that way.
And so far, so good for Pan. Definitely needs to win this game to come back into this matchup. And Sazdiu, even if he loses this game, he still has a chance to win, or a pretty good chance to win.
And we are on this round, which looks like Borneo. And I think we have Sarawak poles, and with these mountains we should be somewhere outside Kuching. But it was in...
It's Lavas. It is still Sarawak,
Is that
technically.
still
It is still Sarawak, yes. It's
Okay.
the Lavas region. It's like the
You
only
also
other
have
region.
mountains
Yeah,
there, but it's such a small region with those big mountains.
maybe a region consider that people should just learn every road, maybe just because it's the only region in Sarawak that really looks
Maybe.
like that, and it's so far away from the other one that looks like it.
I guess learning every road will help you getting better at this game.
True.
We have a Bulgaria, I guess.
Yeah.
This makes sense. I thought it's Croatia when it spawned because of the hook pole, but
Yeah, tiled roofs, I feel like that's
Yeah.
more of a thing.
yeah,
in
the building
Bulgaria.
looked very Bulgarian. So the landscape overall then. It looks like we are in Alberta or Sask.
Wait, do we have... It looks like we have US car blur. Didn't really expect that.
Oh,
Definitely felt like Canada.
do we?
Right. I think so, because both players looked at the car and
Okay.
we do have an oil
Well then.
rig there.
Oh, we have US
fence.
fences
US
there.
fences,
Okay,
true.
now I'm convinced.
Also, we have an oil drill. Damn.
Sazdiu's right on it. It's
Not
North
enough, though.
Kansas. That's a lot of points. And he still has 4 rounds to
For
somehow
us.
turn this game around here. Pan.
Ooh, and this looks like one of those
Yeah, in-
border towns in Mexico where you get a lot of Gen 2 still, like Piedras Negras. One of those
Yes,
towns.
2 is this slightly poor image quality due to the fact that this coverage has been taken before 2009? Wait, Gen 2 is also on 10, right?
I think sometimes, yes. Like 20,
Somewhere around that
2011
region.
was like pretty much the breakout year for Gen 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so far nobody
So
agreeing.
before that, you had this camera quality, which players can use because not the whole world was covered at that time. And it is very common along the span on the border between the US and Mexico. Let's see who will pick the right side, because it is a very long span.
Yeah, very long border. And the middle part is pretty much not inhabited between like Ciudad Juarez and the rest. It's not a border town.
It's a bit further south. I would still count that as towards the border, but Pan actually getting the lead back here.
I mean, now it's really anyone's game. I mean,
Now
just
they
one, just a
both
bit
really need
closer,
to
I
log
guess.
in.
In something like,
And we are in Turkey.
yeah, you tell us. I mean, I'm pretty much useless here. We have the trees.
Winter, really? Is it winter? It could be east of Balıkesir. It could also be the road. I think it should be either Balıkesir province or Manisa. Could also be Kütahya, one of the three.
Isn't there one road
what I
near,
can see
like east of
here.
Osmania that also looks like this? Maybe not. I mean, I have no clue.
Don't know.
I like
don't
the
think it
western
should
guess
be.
more with the
Yes.
pine trees.
Yes. We also have a little bit of Gentry Winter down there, so both guesses make sense. Whereas if I was Pan, I would go a bit more to the west, and it was in Manisa.
Is Manisa, and that will be not
Not
I
game.
was about to say, obviously. Not enough, quite not enough to win the game. Pan on 150 HP. Can the game even get any closer than this? Wow, and what a...
I think so, and we are in Malaysia. This can be very random because Malaysia's known to be pretty hard to read and guess.
We do have the white card, though, which is more common in Johor. Especially if it's like 2022 copyright or something older, a bit older. Definitely more common to get it there. And that's exactly where Pan is guessing. Very far south commit.
Let's see if he will
And he
get
gets rewarded.
He does. And I want to say, knowing that makes this a deserved win.
That's a
for
deserved win.
Pan.
But I feel like it's a very pretty known meta, so definitely on Sazdiu's part could definitely have gotten that, but it's also, do you trust it even though it doesn't look like it? Maybe Sazdiu didn't quite trust the vegetation around him.
Well, I mean,
never know.
mainland Malaysia is pretty hard to read and guess, therefore I would
Yes.
trust things like that over just going by vibes. But yeah, we go over to NMPZ yet again. Had a couple of NMPZ games today. I am happy to see that. But the players aren't, because this is all you can work with. You are restricted to this still image.
Yeah, and what
No
a
looking
round.
around, no moving. And you have to make a guess based on that, as we are in what looks like Europe, based on how the road is built and the vegetation. And it was France. I can't blame the Germany guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure that, I mean, that round really came down to, okay, how does the vegetation really look? I could have seen a lot of places in Europe actually, so definitely not the
in
easiest, definitely not the easiest France of them all. As we go into this, is this just a,
Jeez.
wait,
See, this is where
I'm not,
GeoGuessr gets more difficult if you are in an urban environment instead of just seeing greens.
I thought Taiwan here. I thought Taipei, but I can't really. Well, we're driving right at least
What
because
do we really have to work with here? I mean, the architecture looks very generic Asian.
isn't there Asian on the bus or what is that? Or is that a Colo
It is
like bus thing?
Colombia.
And that might not be enough to win the game though. So Sazdiu stays like there was the
It's
thing.
not the first Asia,
No,
South America toss-up we had today.
but you know what was there? I mean, this is a free West Cali, by the way, so we can skip it. But there was like this plate sticker on the side of the bus, which usually gives you like the town name or
Oh, the
something in
license-
Ecuador. Not in
the
Ecuador,
license
Colo.
plate on
Yeah.
the side of the bus.
I think that was
I didn't
there,
even
and
pay attention
I didn't
to that.
see that until like a few
Could be a
seconds
thing.
before the end of the game. And wow.
Wow, that's a good region guess for knowing it's West Kalimantan. Winning off that. Very great game by Pan, but overall just a great match. I think Sazdiu lost a lot of points on that one Brazil round, which had cost him one game, but besides that, it was, yeah, very either even or they made the same mistakes. Nothing in between.
Nice comeback there from Pan. You know, I don't really quite like how he doesn't stay true to his name, because it seems like he's pretty good at no panning. Winning both his NPZ games today. And, I mean, this game in quite a fashion. Not gonna lie, I didn't spot the plate on the side of the bus until like 1 second left, so nice spot there by Pan. Definitely had an Asian vibe to it, but...
Yes, I did not look on the right side of the screen at all. I was on the left side looking at these buildings, and the windows looked like the type of windows you get in Asia, which are like a bit smaller. That seems like it is also a thing in Colombia. And we have Trisha winning in a 2-0 fashion against Flyme. That was important for him after he lost that 2-0 to Feneb to log in here and get that win against Flyme.
Yeah, still pretty decent day, I would say, for Trisha. 2-0 victories. Gonna be okay with 6 points. I mean,
definitely.
It's basically like winning 2-1 every single game. So, and as we can see, he climbs a bit to the 20th spot. And we see Captain and Finnbar on the same points now with 38. Very close to Harrier as well. And you can see how less games Captain and Finnbar have played. 16 and 17.
That is
wow.
Insane. That is insane. They have so many points for given how less, or how much less they played compared to the other competitors.
Yeah, and we will see Finnbar in the next game coming up. He will face Malfunction, who doesn't have the best day so far. 2-0 losses for her so far, but you know, you might as well, you know, tease Finnbar a bit by beating him. Who knows?
Who knows, but definitely not an easy opponent. I've said that earlier. Finnbar is a very, very strong player. I mean, we see him in the top 10. And we see him also playing. Doesn't make any big mistakes usually.
Yeah, no big mistakes. But sadly...
He's also a very well-rounded player, I must say. He knows how to play moving as well. He definitely got way better at that, so that could be maybe a problem for Malfunction. Because Malfunction is, as we know, a very great moving player, therefore you really want to lock in on that game if you want to secure the match win.
Yeah, I would love to jump into the game right now, but before that we have to give the players some time and also the viewers some time, so maybe get something to drink before this final slot of matches. 2 matches left to go. It's Finnbar against Malfunction, but before that, as I said, quick break. See you soon.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blinky lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings. World-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.
And we are back for this final section of the stream. We have 2 more games to go, starting off with Finnbar against Malfunction. We saw both playing already. We just saw Finnbar losing against Captain, but obviously a very strong opponent. And we also saw Malfunction earlier, losing both her games. We only saw one of them, but both of them coming up from a loss. But what can we expect to Lotus? Analyze the matchup for me.
Yeah, a very important match, especially you don't even need to look into the future. Just for today, Malfunction, I think she really wants to go out with a win today after she couldn't get it through 2 times. Now facing Finnbar, whereas on the other side, Finnbar is in this competition on the top 10, where you also want to push through to the top. So I think they both are really locked in on this one. Finnbar with a 67% win rate, 59% precision, and an average guess time of 38 seconds here.
Yeah, the numbers will definitely be in favor of Finnbar. He has been phenomenal so far in this league. Definitely outside of like the top 4 players like RC, Blinky, Consus, and MK. He's kind of like a contender to be like 5th place or 6th place together with Captain. I feel like the numbers are definitely there, and as we can see right now, he will be the favorite coming into this matchup. But definitely, it's GeoGuessr. But everything can happen, really. As we see the standings.
We have those adventures I was talking about earlier for Malfunction, where she wants to maybe face players who take their time on their guesses, and Finnbar is one of those. He's getting close to those 40 seconds with 38 seconds guessing time. Maybe that could be an advantage for Malfunction here, if Finnbar will take his time on the rounds on this match. And we are right in it, in South Africa.
And not even a second into the game, Malfunction saw a phone code, instantly knew, okay, I'm going East London. Okay.
Well, we have Finnbar also along the coast.
And that's the Malfunction really I know.
Yep, what Malfunction needs here, maybe giving her a bit more confidence. Getting that town this quick, putting that pressure on early. As we move on to this round, which seems to be the Canada maximum.
That was a maximum sign, I think. Yes.
We also have a single yellow line, which both checks out for Canada. To me, it looks like Ontario, but we have French, so it could be like close to Ontario, maybe.
Yeah, it definitely feels very west in Quebec, if it is Quebec. Like, I kind of like the border with the US, of course, I mean.
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, that area is pretty hard to region guess. It looks very diverse, the southern part.
Yeah, you have some very straight field roads where it's just like a grid, and then you also have these like a bit more mountainous regions towards the US border as well, so
yeah,
not the easiest.
Everything to be seen there, and we are in South Australia with those Stobie poles. The mix of concrete and metal on these poles is almost specific to South Australia.
Pretty much, yes. And both of them
we
finding
have a city
something.
There. Does it say button?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Doesn't just say button.
Quality is a bit bad, but
maybe just this
that
button.
Could be a town name. We have some wineries here, which you see a lot around Adelaide.
And he found a town name. It's called Waikare something. And yes. I mean, with wine, you definitely have to check like Renmark and stuff. That's kind of the wine growing region.
Also a region where you see it a lot, definitely.
And
it is on
looking at it.
Malfunction's screen, but I don't think she had that information that we actually are in Valkyrie. And therefore, Finnbar strikes back here. And with the 2 times multi, that's also 1k damage being dealt.
Yeah, so far, both of the players showing that they can, you know, find town names at least. Now we go into a round which will be very minimal points. We do have an Israel round, and those rounds usually just end up in a few hundred points, if even.
Yes, definitely. It should be the northern half. With how urbanized, mountainous, dry it is. I like somewhere around Jerusalem makes sense to me. Maybe even north of it.
Yeah, I feel like you get this
in
kind
West
of
Bank.
this kind of hilliness, like either near Jerusalem or very far north near Nazareth.
I think we have the West Bank follow car there, right?
Really?
Malfunction is fast moving, but it looks like it to me in the blurs. I think it is. I think she is very close. I would guess exactly where Malfunction's pin is right now.
Well, she's almost trying to switch here. Finnbar eyeing another town, but both of them close to Jerusalem.
Well, I would have lost a lot of points there for Israel standards, which is only 368, but...
Well, for Israel, that's a lot of points, has to be said.
Yeah, for Israel standards, it is a good amount of points as we go over to this round, which
Another
looks
Australia
like a
round.
Victoria in Australia with those poles.
And
have
Malfunction
them.
instantly zooming onto the coastal parts. I don't know what she saw, but seems like the...
Maybe it's the grid.
And Finnbar with a road number. Very good information. They are ordered.
Yes, and also with a C road. Should really only be looking around there in Victoria with how it looks.
But seems like so far Finnbar not finding the road as of right now. But it seems like Malfunction has the same sign, I just realized.
Yes. Malfunction is scanning pretty east, which I don't like with how flat it is. I feel like it should be more towards either the north or the western side of Victoria. Or we don't see the mountains. That's
we
also
might
possible.
just not see them both in very similar area now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit more towards the flatter part. But nothing really happening there.
Yeah, half the rounds done and already, and pretty much health, pretty much
Pretty
even.
sure Finnbar knows this. Yes, he does.
The
Well, he got
instant
the coaching, right?
The Lotus coaching in Turkey, you have the red soil with these trees. Sanliurfa,
Yeah.
Gaziantep,
Yeah, more
Kirlis,
towards... Yep, it is also possible.
and Malfunction also there.
With how the road looks, he should be between Gaziantep and Sanliurfa. He committed pretty far north. Probably because of the terrain. It got a bit more mountainous. The further south you go, the more flat it gets. But
Unless you're in
nonetheless, a good
Kirlis.
guess from both.
Kirlis pretty hilly as well. That's usually
Yeah.
how you get it.
Yeah. The further south you go, the more mountains come up again.
And wow, another Australia, really Australia heavy seed.
Indeed. Is it?
Murray Sunset National Park. Is that a knowable park?
With this road angle, I thought we are on this border road between Western Australia and South Australia, maybe, as a possibility. Maybe there's too much going on this road, though, to be there.
Yeah.
And,
But we do have the
a guest down
exposed
from
car, so
Finnbar.
I feel like we should be somewhere in Vic.
I didn't even pay attention to that. You have that car in a couple places, though. But it was that span on the province border between Victoria and South Australia.
Damn, and there was the Welcome to South Australia sign as a POI visible.
Took them a little bit of more fast moving to get there, maybe.
Yeah,
And with a little bit, I mean, it would have still been
a
a good chunk of kilometers in Australia.
And we are getting rounds that are pretty easy.
Iceland.
So now it almost becomes, okay, you need to make good guesses now because there's not that many rounds left.
No.
And we have
But
two
still, you
completely
can
different guesses.
get a lot of points in Iceland because
I really
what
like
do we have? We
Finnbar's
have
guess,
mountains and a body of water, which you see pretty much everywhere in
but
Iceland.
it looks eastern to me.
Therefore, yeah, the water goes towards the southeast. I guess that makes more sense in the east.
And
is
Finnbar is right on it. That will be
5K.
enough. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, Iceland definitely got way harder to region guess ever since the new coverage came out. A lot of regions look very similar. But
Yeah,
yeah,
have to relearn everything again. Usually Gen 3 was pretty much solved in the country, but now you also have to learn all the Gen 4 and all the new roads that were added. A lot of new stuff in the middle of the country that usually didn't have a lot of coverage, but now looks like the moon.
Yep,
So-
pretty much. Do agree. And we go over to the no-move game, which I think is Finnbar's favorite mode, right? He doesn't like NPC too much, and he's not really a moving player. I think no-move is really where Finnbar has the biggest chance to win.
Yeah, I feel like it's a mode where he's very consistent, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I mean, a lot of these players don't make a lot of mistakes, but he's very
Yep.
just consistently making good guesses.
Yes. I think Finnbar is also someone who likes to learn a lot, car metas, different antennas in countries, and
Yeah.
that's something you can pay more attention to in a no-move mode.
Also copyright, not always visible in the NPC,
Yep.
and in no move you're basically guaranteed to have one. Also something that suits him probably. Definitely spends some time on the map making app. Looking
That
at
is
that.
true, and would you look at that, we have that little... It's not a rift, but there's like this smudge in the air, which you see in Kocaeli province.
Of course. I mean, who doesn't know Kocaeli stick in the car? Yeah,
It
obviously.
should be north of Izmit somewhere.
Does Finnbar know that though? I
feel
feel like my instant guess would have been
No.
Sakarya.
Yeah, it's also like it's spilling over to Sakarya. It's
Okay.
if I would guess between Izmit and Sakarya in the north.
And guess where Finnbar is? Seems like the coaching is paying off.
Yes.
But
Should
Malfunction-
maybe offer it on Fiverr or something.
Yeah, I mean, the Generation 2 is coming soon.
No, he's fumbling.
No!
Going to
Jesus.
Europe. No, Malfunction is definitely closer here then.
Oh, switch back a bit further to the east at least. Not the end of the world at
It
least.
is north of Izmit, indeed, in Sakarya. In Kocaeli province.
Close.
It is close.
Yeah, can't
Still
wait for
decent
the
guesses.
pickup era of Turkey with all the new pickup coverage added to Turkey. A lot of new stuff you have to learn. And especially because on the car you can always see the most random smudges, and learning all those is possible, but I don't know how
Who would do
realistic
that?
it is. Who would ever do that?
Who would ever learn that?
Nobody, right?
And we are in Peru. We have a railway. Maybe they know it, the railway, but it does indeed look pretty far south with how flat and dry it is. Other flat, dry areas are in the northwest of Peru, but it looks a bit different.
Yeah.
You don't
There's
really
a similar
have those
area near
bushes
Junín that
there.
looks like this, but... Oh!
That's a 5K from Finnbar. I don't even know if the railway showed up,
I
but
mean,
he is right on it.
he is just right on it. Not much to say there.
No, because at the time when I was looking at the screen when he was scanning, I didn't see a railway, but I don't know if he switched maybe.
I mean, Finnbar can definitely not be underestimated in his scanning capabilities. I mean, we all know Malfunction is good at it, but so far Finnbar has been the player who really lines up the roads here.
Definitely, definitely. And we are in the Nordics. We have some bollards here, which look like the Swedish bollards.
We also have road lines, just short
I don't
dashes.
see them. Okay. It's in between them. Malfunction a little bit closer as we go to round 5.
Again, it looks pretty even so far. Just, maybe a slight lead for Finnbar, but the game will definitely be decided on the bigger multiplier rounds.
Definitely, but this is also a country where we have seen a lot of points being gained or lost. It is Nigeria. This follow car. I don't know if you get any state given on this location. There is some text, but not really readable for me. However, without that, I want to say it's quite difficult to get a region guess down here.
Yeah, I mean, Finnbar scanned and then instantly clicked in Makurdi, so I wonder if he saw anything confirming that. And it seems like Malfunction is also there, so there was definitely something written, I feel like.
Probably.
Maybe the state name and they just clicked the biggest city because it looked like a big city.
possible.
That's possible.
Well, the sign was also designed in a way where I assumed that there is a state given on it. It looks It looked like one of those signs that get hung up when there's construction going.
And now the question is, who learned or who still knows every single park in?
Yeah. Kenya should be with this car, and it looks like not South Africa, it looks like Africa.
Well, it is in Africa, but maybe not south. Middle-ish.
Middle counts more, Middle East. But yeah, a lot of parks are covered with this car in Kenya.
There are slight differences,
now
but
they are trying to line it up. There are some differences, sure, you could learn that.
yeah, some have a rope attached to the rails on the Google car. Some don't. Some have a different color, but
Yeah. In this case, for example, you don't see the Kenya snorkel, but it is Kenya. So don't always look for the snorkel.
true.
It can also just not be there.
And both
They are
finding this
indeed
ridge.
getting the ridge.
Almost in Tanzania there.
It's pretty good mapped on the zoom level. The ridge, I want to say. Makes it a bit easier for them. And now we are in Brazil. We don't have any supports on the power poles, which you commonly found more in the northeast. And with how dry it is, I think that's really confirming it that we are indeed in the northeast. But still a pretty big area of possibilities.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know whether I want to go Bahia or like Sierra Hills in the south. Like Pernambuco.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I quite like Finnbar's guess. It's either there or Bahia for me. And the hills look quite dry, so maybe I definitely go more northeast towards that. And it seems like Malfunction is also going exactly where I'm saying, that kind of tri-point border.
Yep, that covers a lot. I like the Pernambuco guess a lot. Just right outside. What is the east of Pernambuco, Alagoas?
Or Sergipe.
So
I don't know. Don't have the exact...
probably Alagoas. And we are in Asia with... I was thinking first with the rice fields. Couple green roofs. Which you also see from time to time. We have a transformer on the pole, which makes me not think of Indonesia or Malaysia. We have octagonal poles, so it should be Philippines then.
Yeah, I think especially the lamp with the concrete bottom is also a very common thing in the Philippines. I quite like the northern guess, but it could always be weird south, or it's just Mindoro, okay.
Interesting. Well,
Big chunk
wow,
here.
that is good damage for Malfunction there.
Very risky guess there by
Pretty odd.
Finnbar.
Yep. Well, maybe he had something to rule out Luzon, and then you just think of the south with how big the valley was. Maybe that was his thought process there. I don't know, but this looks like Ecuador to me.
Yeah. And how the road looks in the vegetation, I usually just click Santo Domingo on these locations. Because it doesn't feel east of Andes, but Finnbar is east of Andes, and...
Yeah, I like the
Okay,
Coca, I guess.
Malfunction is in Colo. Didn't she not see the sign back? This could be a big... Wait, she locked in.
Oh,
Oh, this will be big points. Finnbar could win the game here.
could if he's
She's not
on
too far
it.
away,
I don't know
but-
where she guessed in Colombia.
And
That it was
that's as good
only
as it can go.
1.1k. Yeah, definitely.
As I
It's
said,
pretty
Santo
far
Domingo,
away.
underrated hedge if it's western. And it did not
Yeah, I was
seem
surprised.
east.
I was surprised, but now we should be in Colombia. We have the
Ooh, the Antioquia
pole
paint.
paint. Yeah.
And it just looks like hilly, so you just click Medellin.
Yep. So for the viewers, that pole paint right there with the small black section, big yellow section, and small black section again is something you've seen on. How do you pronounce it?
Antioquia?
Antwi-
I don't know.
Antioquia.
I have no idea. It's probably
Kind of
different in
problems with
Spanish.
pronouncing that. But where Medellin is in, pretty much.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
If you know that, you just line it up.
I mean,
So
I was about to say maybe
Malfunction.
undeserved win after that Colo guess on Ecuador because it was quite an easy Ecuador with the back of the sign. But I mean, maybe she redeemed herself with that guess, getting the right town there in Antioquia.
yeah,
Well
definitely
played,
a
but-
very impressive guess.
Finbar could have definitely won if he goes west of Andes there on the Ecuador location, big mistake made, and no punish there.
Yeah, they maybe both fumbled it. Let's say like that.
True.
One fumbled the country, one fumbled the region guess. And we move over to NMPC. I do like the Thailand guess.
Yep, same.
By default, those concrete fences there, with the wires in between them, the vegetation, the dryness, the flatness, everything screams Thailand. And it is between Surin and Sisaket there, east in Thailand.
Yeah,
They're both also getting a fairly good region guess down there.
I feel like if you have very dryish, flat, usually you consider always east. Now this, on the other hand, what are we looking at here? I mean, I want to say this looks like...
could be the US.
Looks like the US,
with
just with
how
the
wide
pavement.
the road is, yes, and the pavement. But at the same time, I am not sure about which state this could be, and if it's even the US.
I thought maybe like coastal New Jersey or Delaware, I don't know.
Let's see that. It looks kind of flat, forested.
I mean, me
I feel
being
like
from
the
Delaware, I don't know. Kind of hard to
Yeah.
not think about Delaware here.
Because in the Midlands, you shouldn't get those forests. And then in the Midwest, you have more mountains. So therefore, I think it should be somewhere east. With how flat and forested it is. Yeah. See, that should be mountainous there.
Yeah, I
between
guess.
Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So really hard to get that one. But, I mean, Finnbar is in Pennsylvania with his plunk.
And maybe if you turned around in the location, you would have seen a poster sticker on the tree confirming it, pretty much.
But would you look at that? We have a Deutschland location.
Deutschland location. Deutschland mentioned.
Deutschland mentioned.
Well, I can't read whatever it says on these poles, and I
Nope,
don't see a single
I don't
house.
either, and there's also nothing to work with here. We don't have any architecture. We don't... I mean, it looks a bit hilly in the distance, so maybe a bit more south, southwest, or east.
I don't know.
That's about it. And it's Hannover.
Yeah, just
Ah,
Hannover.
do you count that as Hannover?
I mean, it's like Göttingen.
That's
or
also
something.
an area where nothing's going on.
I mean, yeah, I've been to Göttingen and it's kind of a random place. Not sure. They just placed a city there. I'm like, yep.
Yep, and we have a Canaries.
I'm between Canaries and East Coast as well, like north of Valencia.
I was not in Canaries at all.
I was Valencia, like north of Valencia, kind of coastish,
Yes.
coastal-ish east. Definitely will see the game here, regardless.
Is this
I mean,
actually Canaries?
it could be, but
How? It is.
it is.
Wow, that is an impressive guess.
And an insta guess as well. I mean, he spent like
a
5
pine
seconds.
forest in... Yeah, that's insane.
Well, you know,
I don't know what he used or saw, or maybe he knew the road. I don't know, but what I do know is that that is an impressive guess and a deserved win for Finnbar.
yeah, true. We are getting Finnbar in the interview, so all these questions we have about the guesses, we can get answered very shortly. We're gonna set up the interview, and then we're gonna have a quick chat with Finnbar. I mean,
I will
as you
ask him
said,
personally.
not an
on
easy
that.
Canaries, but maybe he saw something slimmer before. But we have another game before that interview, which is, I think, Pan against Strefan. Please let me be right. I think it's Pan against Strefan, but
I think so.
gonna see that
You're right.
first, and then get the interview later. As we are already in the moving game,
in the
jumping right
game.
in.
And we see them both being on the right road there in... What was it? Was it
South
Chile?
Chile, yes.
Yep.
And so far,
I
Strefan
kind of
on
had
flawless.
To make a blink mode guess there, but... It works. Are we...
This looks like Austria.
Yes.
These houses don't seem German, but it seems almost German.
Kind of hilly to the north, so Graz makes sense. With mountains being visible north, but it could also just be right outside Vienna, where you also still see mountains. to
Yeah,
the
like
south,
west of Vienna
to
could
the
also
north.
be, but
Yeah,
both of them in Graz.
both
That's where it
works,
is.
and yeah, it is indeed. Just south of Graz. And we are in round 5 actually already.
Yeah. But I mean, so
halfway
far,
done, but we didn't. Seems like we didn't really miss out on anything here.
well, I don't think
Also,
I need my
nothing
expertise here.
happening here with Napier and Wellington both on the side. We are on the 2.
I mean,
So this is just a matter of scanning, lining up the road. They see that they are on the east-west span and have an off-road to the north there. So pretty much you go on the 2, you go between those cities written, and then you scan for a span where you have a east-west lineup with a off-road to the north.
Yep.
Which we have here. And they both get it, of course. Cheeky little 10k on this match as we go over to round 6 now.
yeah, that was more of a easy location, I would rather say. I mean, highway locations, especially with town names very close to you, 22 kilometers can make an easy lineup there. And also intersecting with another yellow road is also a good thing.
Yeah. To be fair, the off-road didn't look like a yellow road to me, but
Oh, okay.
of course it does line up. And this is coming down to a region guess, as we don't have any information. They both picked the Sliven Valley. Is the right valley, but on the wrong side.
I mean, this valley pretty much covers like 2/3 of the country in the east,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's a good region guess nonetheless, but
Phew. Now we are in Germany though.
this looks more like the Germany I know. Definitely looks
I
southern, like either
think
Baden-Württemberg or
yes.
Bayern. And it says Otto Beuren. I've heard of that before.
I have not heard
That
of
is in Baden-Württemberg, right?
So Beuren.
Otto, that's a bigger town, I think.
Well, we will have the Landkreis on this side.
Or is it-
Japan is not checking the Landkreis.
Or is it in Bavaria? I don't know. It's maybe on the border. It seems like.
I'm surprised you didn't look at the Landkreis, because often the Landkreis is knowable, even if you didn't learn them, because some Landkreise just make sense, because they say, let's say, it could say the river or the region or any city nearby.
Canada is on the border, just very far south there. Didn't see the mountains. But yeah, I've definitely driven past that before, because it is kind of on the highway to like Füssen, or like the Allgäu in general. So definitely I've been there quite a few times.
Yeah, very nice region in Germany, and now we are in Japan, which is also a very pretty country.
True. And yeah, a lot of Japan today, and a lot of good guesses today in Japan. I mean, Japan on moving, always good to have if you know your polls.
Yes, and it looks like we have a Kanto port up here. Kanto is the region around Tokyo. We also have a Great Plate, so
We have a very big lake. Is this
Should be
ever
in
the
these-
lake near Mount Fuji?
prefectures around Tokyo, it could be. Is it a lake or is it a big river?
That looks very big for a river, I have to say.
Can't really tell from what I saw. Strefan is pretty much the furthest north it can be in Kanto, so that's a very committed guess.
He is committed to the cause.
But it's just right on the next prefecture to the west in Tochigi. So getting that Northern vibe was pretty good. Pretty good reading us within the Kanto region of Japan. We are getting closer to the round limit as we are in round 9 now, so let's see if something will happen here, which I believe is possible in Russia. As we have street signs or town signs, but they are pretty close, therefore it's not expected to be any big cities.
Yeah, sometimes
written
they
on
have like a
them.
prefix that maybe gives you the region. Like maybe close to river, you know, but this does not seem like they have any valuable information on it.
Yeah, we have a lot of antenna checks here.
Sometimes you jump into different
Multiple
coverages and then you
times,
have
yeah.
maybe an antenna that you know better, because
That makes sense.
long antenna can be pretty arbitrary in Russia. Short antenna usually a bit more sophisticated.
It looks like Orenburg area to me with how flat and dry it is.
To Chelyabinsk.
Yep, that area
Yekaterinburg
is
now.
also possible still. Yep, it's just right on the border to Kazakhstan there.
And that will
And
close
that
out the game for
is
Strefan.
game.
Pretty much flawless game by him yet again. We see quite a performance today by him.
Yeah, he did have some very good guesses even without any information given. So Pretty well played there.
Yeah, kept his cool all the way down into Russia, where he wasn't really sure, maybe, because he was checking the antenna over and over. He double-checked everything, but
Can't help.
it worked out, and we go to this. What are we looking at? Is this BC?
I like BC, as in British Columbia
True, maybe I should.
in Canada.
Maybe I should say that.
Oh, good. I got you at that.
BC, British Columbia, very far west in Canada. But
Yes.
could be
because
something else.
it's the size of the trees, really, which always makes you think of the area west in Canada and the US. If the trees are taller, you consider this region of the Americas. So yeah, big tree meta here, maybe. So
Tree meta. True.
British
Oh,
Columbia
Pan
makes
now
sense.
all the way to
However,
Quebec.
Pan does disagree.
It is the first round, so even if he goes there, he doesn't lose the game right on the
No.
spot. But
He
I feel like
won't, but-
BC is okay.
Well, I will count that as west, okay?
We are in like Montana. I don't know.
Wyoming,
it
Idaho,
looks like the
Montana,
panhandle of
Tri
Montana
Point.
going like down.
Yeah, that is a difficult round.
So Ocean Man would have 5K'd that one. Shout out to Ocean Man.
Definitely.
And it seems like we're staying in the US. And what do we have here?
Yeah.
Another great round.
It looks swampy, right?
Well, there's
But
a
at
river.
the same time, it doesn't look southern. So what are we making out of this round now?
I don't really know. Isn't it weird that
Could
we are?
see this being Louisiana or something.
Why did
down
they
there.
build the road in the
But-
middle of the two bodies of water? Like, isn't that a bit weird?
Is it a natural body of water, though?
I don't know. It's
Well, it looks like it is pretty big.
it just seems very random to build the road right through it. But America needs their straight roads, so
True. There's no way around.
yeah. Where do you guess on this?
So yeah, I think it's either far north or far south. One of the two.
Okay, Strefan in Delaware here. Didn't see the plates on the cars.
Yeah.
It's Delaware.
Wow. Jeez. Okay. Oh, well. I mean, it makes sense.
Maybe it
It's
were
just
like coastal
nothing-
inlets.
It's just nothing I would guess.
Like a coastal inlet lagoon type of location. Maybe he
Yeah, it's
caught
very
up
odd.
onto that.
Definitely. And we are in Europe here with the antenna on the Gen 3 car. Looks pretty forested. Those buildings look almost Danish to me.
Yeah,
but this
I was
does not
between
look-
Denmark or Poland because of the road, but
Yes.
Maybe Denmark makes
yes, the
sense.
road and the forest make me think Poland. The house makes me think Denmark. I could see this even being
and now
the Baltics.
Netherlands maybe?
Netherlands is possible. We don't see any power lines.
I think Netherlands or Denmark with the house here, just because it looks like we have a thatched roof. Maybe
That
on
is
it.
possible. There's also a bench. Having a bench on a road like this is something you would more so see in Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, probably.
We have a Hungary guess. I don't think Hungary with those houses. They look very, I don't know, Northern European. And it is NL.
Yes, indeed, Netherlands.
And that's a flawless win. Free round game yet
Wow.
again.
very,
Strefan
very well
only
played
dropping
by
a few
Strefan.
points.
Yeah. He played great. He played out of his mind. Very good guesses on also very difficult locations. That's also something you have to mention. It's not only him making good guesses, it's also the locations he made good guesses on. They're very impressive.
Okay.
He lets all his power out. He's happy.
So
Punching
yeah,
it twice.
if he doesn't beat you in GeoGuessr, you know what's in store for you. So you definitely don't want to upset this guy. Holy.
I mean, I don't know why you would do that on a win. I would maybe more so do that on a loss, but hey, everyone has their own rituals.
Yeah. I mean, if it works, it works. And definitely a good day for Strefan. 2 wins in his bag. And the punching bag only took a slight blow. And we see another result coming in. Spaghet. Another win for him against Sazdiu. Also a hard opponent.
Insane. Yeah, that's definitely a day where a couple people gain a lot of points. If you look at Trisha gaining 6 here, Spaghet also winning 2 games.
Yep, 2 games.
So yeah, pretty big day for a couple players. But on the other hand, for players like Malfunction, it's looking very bad now. She really had to log in today. I think it was if not the most important day she had in the whole league today.
Yeah.
With 3 games to be played. So yeah, very important day.
Could have been a turning point for her, but only a single point out of 3 games. She will not be happy, and it is not looking that great. But Spaghet, on the other hand, is climbing the ranks somehow, now on 32 points. And the thing is, if he gets to the major, winning the major basically guarantees you a spot at the World Cup. So, you definitely want to get to that major, and then everything is still possible. Because I think in APAC, there's not like a clear favorite as like in Europe or the Americas. So I think in APAC region, everything is kind of possible in that tournament.
Yeah. Also, if you take the amount of players who participate in it into consideration, there's a good chance you can make it through. It's not as many games you have to win as, let's say, in the EMEA. Therefore, even just, as you said, going into the majors is already very big and promising.
Yeah, I mean, probably the favorite coming into APAC is Zigzag. I mean, you can see he is by far the highest ranked player from the APAC region. I think the second highest ranked is Feneb.
Sheena.
Or where's Sheena? Oh, Sheena, there he is. My bad, he was highlighted so bright that I couldn't see him quite there, which is Sheena. I think maybe my 2 favorites coming into that tournament, but we shall see. Anything is possible, especially because you're in a different environment than the World League itself. You're on stage, playing in front of viewers, and it's going to be a way bigger event. Also a very big prize pool on the line.
That will definitely have an effect on how you play. That's for sure. I can tell from experience. It is a different vibe. And yeah, looking back at this leaderboard, I think we get the interview ready now, probably.
I didn't hear any word yet, but I'm sure they are setting up.
That's probably what's happening.
Now.
Let's assume it, because the games are done for today. We see the the leaderboard standings, and we are getting, hopefully, a Finnbar interview very, very soon.
But
so maybe he will teach us his ways on how to get the Canaries on a location like that.
Yeah, and I also want to mention, you said Trisha will climb the rank, and those 6 points he gained today got him all the way from 28th place to 20th already.
That's a big jump.
Big
that's
jump.
A big jump.
And
that's important.
2 more weeks like that, and he's in the top 15. Definitely already close to qualifying for EMEA, so...
Still very possible for Trisha. He's also someone I've always rooted for. I was always sad about him not being in the last World Cup as well, because I think he definitely deserves a spot there. He's a very great player, and it's very nice to see him getting those wins through now.
True. And I just heard word Finnbar is ready for the interview, so we shall welcome Finnbar to the stream. Finnbar, how are you feeling after this day? 1 loss, 1 win. How is it?
Pretty good. Yeah, happy with how I played today overall.
Nice. I mean, Geologist was very curious about the last location, because he was like, this is never Canaries. Where is this guy even guessing? This is an easy eastern Spain. How did you get it, and what do you have to say to Geologist there?
I would say Geologist never mainland Spain. No, it could have been. I've just like a lot of the countries with like islands that are far away from a lot of the rest of the coverage. So like the Azores, the Canaries, like Rhodes, Crete. I've kind of just like coverage checked all of them on map making app in case I get them. It's good to never miss them, I suppose. So I've just looked at them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, good to not miss that. Any question you have, Geologist, for him?
Question. I have an excuse. It was a pretty small screen for Mark. Okay? It was a small screen. It looked like Canaries on it. But yeah, nonetheless, you played very well. At this point, I'm not impressed anymore. It's just you being you, playing very well. I was happy about the Turkey guesses as well, of course. You got that region between Gaziantep and Şanlıurfa. And I knew you were gonna get it. That makes it more satisfying if I see you guessing there. We ignore the European Turkey guess. We'll leave that one for another time. But besides those, you play very well, so congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats. I think I have one last question if Geologist doesn't have anything else. But my question would be, you were bumping your head. I mean, maybe it's obvious what you were listening to, but would you mind sharing what you were listening to while playing those games?
I was listening to the deluxe edition of The Secret of Us by Gracie Abrams.
Ooh. Gracie Abrams. Yeah, she kind of is popping off. A lot of Swifties jumping over to the thing, to her, or also to Bia Badoobie.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the vibe today. But
yeah,
Geolotris, any final remarks, questions?
I've said everything. I've asked everything I wanted to say or ask. And again, congrats, Finnbar. Nice.
Yeah, congrats. Thank you very much for the interview, and good luck in the league and also in the EMEA majors.
Thank you.
See you, boss. All right, that pretty much wraps up this set of games. But be sure, because the day is not over GeoGuessr-wise, because we do have another slot at 19 o'clock CET, and you can see the schedule right here. And you know, a fan favorite, Lenley, has 2 of his games streamed in the mainstream. Definitely a lot of people will be there, but also Consus against MK. Can MK be the person who takes down Consus for the first time, still unbeaten in the league? Any other matchups that are very hyped for you here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking forward for the Harrier games, honestly, because Harrier's impressing me so much lately with how well he's playing. I think he's someone no one really looked to getting into the top 10 or high up there, but he made his way there, and he's on a good pace, I would say, and therefore I'm interested in his games. But besides that, of course, the main channel has some bangers on it, especially the Consus MK game. You already mentioned it. Very high level gameplay there.
I also have to say, I think Harrier's just a very funny person, and I think Harrier against Armani could be also a very interesting game. Armani, one of the players that I didn't think would be that far down the list, but we shall see what happens. And
yeah, they are also both pretty close to the community. I feel like Armani and Harrier are very, very close to the community, so it's really nice to see them competing in those terms.
Yeah, speaking of tournaments, obviously their final goal will be qualifying for the major events. As you can see on the screen here, once again, we have the APAC majors in Tokyo, in the famous Tokyo Tower. Gonna be an epic event. Then we have DreamHack Dallas, America's major, May 23rd to 25. June 13 to 15, EMEA in Jönköping, obviously, not Jönköping. Obviously the pronunciation is Jönköping, come on guys. And then ending it all off will be the GeoGuessr World Cup in Copenhagen, Denmark this August, end of August. So get your tickets ready. There will be also informations about getting tickets to the major events. So definitely be sticking around to those and subscribe if you want to add to the prize pool and maybe even win a goodie bag. Well,
that's right, Ziggy. I'm already looking forward to it. It's still a little bit of time, but of course, big events coming up, and I'm also happy to see more on stage, not only the World Cup, but also the regionals with spectators.
Yeah, it's also going to be, a bit more personal. Maybe see the players a bit more in front of the camera. They're going to be a bit more used to it. But yeah, I think this pretty much rounds up this show. I think we're done for today. You will see Toby actually casting with Chicago Geographers, so definitely a new casting combination. Bloom, sadly sick, slight cold, I asked him, so nothing to worry about. Good to hear, but yeah, anything you want to shout out before I end the stream?
Not really. Maybe my own stream again. I do the co-streams in the evening. So in 4 hours you will see me streaming the games you don't see on the main stream. If you want to watch them, I'm going to cast them, and a couple others as well. So make sure to check out the whole category, not only me.
Yeah, Geolotris definitely a good stream to be, and also he has cool emotes, so always good to be there. But yeah, I think we're done for today. Thank you, Geolotris, for casting. Was a blast. I think we're up next week as well, casting together, so you will definitely get more of us two again from the same combination. Yeah, definitely be there or be square. But also thank you to the viewers for watching. And with that, I would just say, have a nice rest of your weekend and have fun with the games later on. See you.
Thank you, everyone. See you.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blink lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings. World-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.